Hello and welcome to Nothing and Like It, thankfully the only podcast to chronicle the Frontier Wrestling Alliance via its appearances on television. We are three roads that promise you the same thing, and I am one man, servant to another. To you all, in fact, Kieran Lefort. Joined as always by one light, acting as a brother, Andy Ogden. Andy, how are you?
I'm not too bad. Uprising.
It's going to be a lot of that tonight, isn't there?
Oh, aye.
And of course, hero to a nation, Eddie Sideburns. Eddie, how are you?
Uprising. I'm ready to go. Let's go. Let's get through this. I cannot wait. But also, my fucking hell, this is some show. Cannot wait to talk about it. Let's go.
And our worlds have collided with our first ever returning guest who has nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Mr. Britwres Away Days, Ben Corrigan. Ben, welcome back. Lovely to see you. How you doing?
Uprising. See, I'm getting
Am I going to have
already.
to edit all those together and see if you harmonise?
No, thanks for having me back. I think it's a good 18 months. I think since I was last on, so it's good to. I'd say good to see you all, but I've seen you all quite recently anyway. But
Yeah.
good to be back involved.
Yes.
Can't wait to talk about what I remember as being quite a noteworthy show.
Today we're talking about British Uprising 3, which took place at the Coventry Skydome on November the 13th, 2004. And a version of it, which we'll get to, aired on TWC on December the 12th, 2004. The version available for public viewing, though, is a rip of the DVD on the FWA Files YouTube channel. But before we get into the actual show, Ben, can you give us a bit of an insight into the fan stuff they had going on earlier in the day?
Yeah, definitely. So obviously it was a big show, the biggest show that FWA themselves ever did. They're expecting a lot of people traveling from all over the country. Their core fan base was obviously the southeast, but this was several hours away in Coventry. So what they kind of did in the afternoon at lunchtime was there's like a fan slam in Jumpin Jaks nightclub, which was part of the main Skydome leisure complex. Does everyone know what Jumpin Jaks is? The type of place? It's kind of like it's like previous generation's version of Pop World, really, isn't it? It's kind of like the cheesy type nightclub.
Oh, you'll enjoy it then.
Yeah, it's looking kind of like a Wild West kind of cowboy thing. But yeah, so they had the fan slam there, the chance to buy all your tapes and everything like that. I mean, Strong Style Tapes was long gone by that time. Shooting Star Video was long time gone. I think it was Outcast Video was the main stall holder there at that time. Don't remember too much about the sessions other than Terry Funk, the main guest of honour, brought in for this show. Absolutely lovely bloke, just a lovely old bloke. Just the most polite, humble, nice man you could ever hope to meet. He seemed like he was absolutely loving his time here. What a lovely gentleman he was.
It's one of my great regrets that I was around in the same building as Terry Funk all day and I never got to speak to him.
I think it's pretty much the only time he ever appeared in the UK.
There's very few. Like we went through it last month, maybe. He was on
WCW.
one of the wacky WCW tours.
PCW,
yeah, but this is his final ever match in the UK, and I think he only has one more match in Europe after this. Like he did something in Germany, I think, a week later. But yeah, this is Terry Funk's last ever match in the UK. Well, my day started very early as I was travelling with, I think, Phil Austin and Amy Hannafan. And we had to meet the guy from the DVD duplication company in a motorway lay-by to pick up all the retail copies of the DVD I'd been making. DVDs plural, I should say. These were the first ever FWA DVDs. Best of Alex Shane, of course. Best of Doug Williams. And Best of TV Volume 1. And I'd made these over the preceding couple of weeks while also making the TV show. So they each have errors on them because I was rushed off my feet and fucking knackered and I'd never made DVDs before. I made sure to skim 2 copies of each off the top for myself because fuck Alex Shane, and I think I might have given copies to Amy and Phil as well because fuck Alex Shane. They wanted more. Alex also wanted a Johnny Storm one and a Jody Fleisch one, and I managed to barter him down to 3, and that was still a shit ton of work. So the masters ended up getting sent to the duplicators at the last possible minute, and literally the only chance we had to pick them up so they could be on sale at the show was to get them out of this fella's car boot on the motorway. Wrestling. Bear in mind, this is the biggest wrestling company in the UK.
Kieran, was Alex Shane's best of about 6 hours long, the double DVD?
It's 2 discs. They're all 2 discs.
What one for his matches and one for his ego?
I haven't watched them. I don't know if I've watched them since I made them. Like, I checked them before they got sent, and then I might have watched them afterwards, which is where I found the errors. But yeah, I haven't watched them in Christ knows how long. I don't know if I ever will again. I still have copies, but I don't know if I'll ever see them again. So, before the main show, there was British Uproar, which was a special pre-show for the gold and silver ringside ticket holders, the people who bought the expensive tickets. The people who could afford straw hats, for example, had bought these tickets. And
Correct.
there were to be two bonus matches, one of which got Eddie very excited when he found out about it last month.
Yep, that's for sure.
Yeah, but our first match, these are on the file that Lee has up on the channel. They were extras on the DVD. Our first match is Dangerous Damon Lee, Stevie Lynn and Jack Storm versus Styx, Martin Stone and Leroy Kincaid. And FWA quality control is in full effect from the get-go because the graphic lists Stevie Lynn as Steve. There's a stray comma, Stone doesn't get his first name, and both Styx and Kincaid are spelt wrong, and the alignment is all skew-whiff. Absolutely horrible.
One thing I noticed as well, the commentators kept calling Leroy Kincaid Leroy Sincade.
These two don't, but the other idiots later on do. Actually, I think it's just Nick London who does.
Nick London, yeah.
Yeah, it's very clearly spelt with a K. Yeah, our commentators for these matches are Dan Reed and Charming Don Charles, who is the on-screen alter ego of Barry Charalambous, FWA promoter. Their audio is mixed horribly here, constantly getting drowned out by the music and the room sound. I did enjoy that the graphic for the commentators leaves Dan's extraneous second N off his name. New ref, he is bald, is my next note.
Do you know who that ref was?
Is he the one we get in the main event as well?
It is, yeah. But
We'll get to him later.
yeah.
This show is shot with 5 cameras. Your standard Monday Night Raw hard cam, another one on a loose head tripod for those high up following shots, 2 at ringside, and then 1 at a 90-degree angle facing the entranceway, the old Rev Pro York Hall hard cam position. Whenever this one is cut to, it looks like it's in a completely different building because the settings are so different. No idea what happened here. I did notice that through much of the main show, that angle is avoided as much as possible. So not to give away my feelings on the match as a whole, but Stick and Jack Storm spend the first 2 minutes showing why this probably should have just been a singles match between them. They're easily the 2 best workers in this thing.
Oh, no. Come on.
Oh, yes. Oh,
no.
yes.
One of my notes says, more like Jack Lightshower than Jack Storm. Right. What's the lot?
Absolutely not. Stevie Lynn getting in the way when Damon Lee's trying to climb the ropes. Nah, not having it. So Stone does some stuff with DDL and looks to have improved massively in the few short months since that 6-man in Broxbourne and that shit match with Jack Xavier that had to be cut down to highlights. Leroy then clotheslines fellow pleather trouser enthusiast Stevie Lynn into dust and kills Jack Storm with the spine buster, and the heel heat segment begins. This match is just noise. The ring sound and the crowd are so loud, and the commentary is just annoying bickering. I found this an absolutely awful audio experience. I wanted to watch this on mute. It was horrible. So Jack gets the shit kicked out of him for 5 minutes before clobbering Styx with something they generously call a discus lariat, and he hot tags Damon. As I mentioned, Lynn is half asleep as DDL runs wild and then standing in the way when he's trying to climb to the top rope. Lee hits a flipping stunner off the top on Stone in time for Lynn to wake up and wipe out the other 2 heels with a flip dive. Martin creases Damon with a half and half suplex and takes forever to make the cover. Damon gets his foot on the ropes, but Storm flops in to break it up anyway. Storm's cover on Stone after a top rope elbow is disallowed by the ref as Jack isn't the legal man. Then Leroy comes in to slice Jack in 2 with a better spear than Schamberg ever managed. And Stevie sticks his fantastic black hole slam. After a short struggle to get everyone in the right position, Styx whips DDL into a lariat from Stone and they hoik him up into a double powerbomb variant for the pin. I enjoyed this more the second time around for my notes watch, but I can't go any higher than about 1.5. Styx and Storm were the best workers in the match, despite what Andy says. Stevie Lynn gets the wooden spoon. And then after the match, a spinning FWA logo centers Stone's bird fingers for whatever reason, and there's too much hanging around watching everyone go back up the aisle that should have been cut out. Andy, give me the reasons behind that face.
Right, here we go. Don Charles eating marbles on commentary, garbled noise, shit. Stevie Lynn has nice pleather pants. Talking of lovely pleather, Leroy Kincaid, who looked like the next Burchill figure. And he just, straight away, you think, money that lad. I did put about Sticks, though. He's a bit behind his other two teammates. So, Kieran, you don't know what you're talking about, fella. You picked the two worst wrestlers.
No.
I think as a bit of a dart match, I went 2 stars on it. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, it's okay. I think everybody to some extent gets exposed in some way.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna, I was gonna say if you're gonna be exposed, this is the place to do it when the building's only half full. But then it went on the DVD, didn't it?
That's a question for you. I don't think we've seen Stevie Lynn or Jack Storm before, have we?
No, they were among the local young baby faces that Alex had done his standard match with around the horn. I was present for the Stevie Lynn one.
Yeah.
And Jack Storm, he was local, so he's Midlands. He was friends with Spud. He would improve drastically. And became one half of the most entertaining tag teams in the country, along with Dave Morales / Mastiff as the Untouchables or Team Charming, depending on where they wrestled.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say, I bet, going off the WWF route, I bet Johnny Storm were unhappy someone took his last name.
I've always wanted to do a family tree of the Storms. James, Quiet, Johnny.
Tony.
Yeah, exactly. They're all related.
Tim.
He's granddad.
Lance.
Nikki.
Yeah, exactly. See? What do you make of this, Eddie?
Dan Reed, okay. Charming Don Charles, shite. I don't need to know that we're Uprising, but thank you for telling me anyway, Don. The empty seats is not a good sight, but I'm quite glad that I know what mean it is the pre-show, but fucking hell. I love the fact that Dan Reed, they have to explain on commentary why there's not that many people in.
Yeah.
Don Charles is just hokey shite, hokey heel commentator shite. I thought the match was fine. I thought Kincaid really shined, as do the 3 baby faces, especially DDL for me. I thought he was really good. You can hear like at points the wrestlers talking stuff, which I kind of always chuckle at, because there's like Martin Stone suplexes DDL and then he shouts, "That's gotta hurt," and I'm like, okay. Then there's a bit where someone in the crowd shouts, "Come on, Jack," and then you suddenly just hear one of the heels say, "Shut up." And I kind of like that stuff when it kind of happens. But the Alex Shane Union of Bodyguards win. It was a good Kincaid lariat. I thought it was fine. I would say 2.
Ben, did this bring back brilliant memories for you?
Not particularly. I didn't remember much about it, to be honest. I mean, to be fair, it's your Young Lions match, isn't it? They just bring out a parade of these young baby faces. It goes on a bit, lasts about 15 minutes long, which is longer than some of the matches on the main show, which notably we'll get to as well, I think. But I mean, I guess those idiots in the front few rows that paid £60 for a ticket had to have something for the money, didn't they? So it's the way of getting your money's worth, but as cheap as possible on the FWA side, I think. But I'd agree. Leroy started to stand out around this time as being like kind of someone to watch. The fans started to notice him, get behind him. What a spear that was by him, by the way. Yeah, I mean,
this is the battle of people who would be featured a lot more over the next year, isn't it?
Yeah, I actually ran into Stevie Lynn last year at
really?
in Middlesbrough. Yeah, he's well out of the game now. He's been gone well over a decade, but he's doing well. He's in kind of like doing well in like games development and testing and things. So it's he's I think better for being out of wrestling. But I think always someone that I thought kind of almost like underplayed his talents. He was a bit. He could have gone further, I think, if he pushed himself.
Interesting. On the subject of the £60 ticket, what else did you get for that other than sitting in the front row and these 2 bonus matches?
as if the 2 bonus matches wasn't enough, you get a T-shirt, free T-shirt, as was usual for the kind of like the gold tickets. It was a fantastic, actually, one of the best free T-shirt designs they ever did. But for some reason, they decided to put the print on the back of the T-shirt rather than the front, so that was a bit weird. You got a meet and greet, like a post-show meet and greet, which I don't think we didn't. In fact, we didn't hang around for that. We just went straight to the pub afterwards rather than being asked to hang around to go and meet Doug Williams or whoever. But a free program as well, which I can't remember if it was just a special one that had been knocked up for this show. I'm assuming it was, or whether it was just a generic After Grey one.
I think they sold them later on. It's the really big one with the black cover with. It's a collage of people on the front, isn't it? And loads of spelling mistakes inside.
Yeah. I don't think it wasn't just Uprising, was it? No, it was, yeah. But, so we got our 2 free matches, but then I think due to circumstances, they actually started letting everybody in during the second of the matches as well. So there we go.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see the clock above the ring throughout this whole show and to figure out just how long this whole thing went.
Oh, it was it's one of the notes I've got is it in a match later on down the line where I looked at it, I was like, oh yeah, it's 22 minutes past 9 and we're just getting to the main. Yeah. That's normal compared to like now.
Pump it up, Subsonic in the background for Dirk Feelgood, as it is time for Dirk Feelgood versus Colt Cabahna, the match Eddie has been looking forward to. Cabahna steals a crutch off someone at ringside during his entrance and uses it to shoot a couple of fans and then throws it back to someone completely different. He got a big pop. I was surprised, actually. I know he's like quite a big international star to have in a dark match, but like people were up for Colt.
But I think as well, Kieran, Dirk got a big reaction as well.
He did as well, yeah. Yeah, he was becoming like a little like cult figure, I think, just out of his couple of appearances that he'd had on the TV. Ben, did you figure out what it was you said to Dirk that elicited the retort, "At least I wasn't dumped by a hat"?
It was obviously something hilarious and wisecracking, wasn't it? But no, I can't remember what it was. I couldn't make it out. But you hear people laughing at it, and then obviously Dirk comes back. At least I wasn't dumped by a hat, which was true because I was not wearing the hat. The hat had gone by this point.
Well, Dirk struts around like this is the biggest burn in history, and Colt feigns like it's the funniest thing he's ever heard. And then the match begins. Dirk is baffled when Colt simply sits down to prevent being whipped corner to corner. He tries it himself and feels very clever when it works, but Colt rolls him into a wacky cradle for a 2 count. There's a crisscross that ends when Dirk falls for Colt pointing at the ceiling and gets slapped. He tries the same tactic and gets slapped again. Feelgood hits 2 atomic drops, but Cabahna fights back with 4 and then uses referee Steve Linsky's unwitting help to do a leg split move on Dirk. Feelgood apparently doesn't need the support of the loser who seems to be sitting very close to Ben's seat, I noticed. There's a little... He had it in for you, didn't he? There's a little bit of World of Sport type grappling leading to Colt Cabahna, of all people, doing the Joshi bridge out of a pin and then riding Dirk around like a horsey. There's a very silly rolling double pin spot. Then Dirk finally plays dirty, attacking from behind after a handshake and giving Colt a kicking in the corner. The wrestling has gone serious, so the comedy now has to be carried by a sign that simply reads "Pork" in big letters in the crowd. Something definitely gets cut out as they maneuver around in a corner, and then another sliver of time disappears when Dirk rolls away from Colt and hits him with a drop kick. Dirk gets his revenge for getting slapped earlier and hits something that looked pretty rubbish and I hope wasn't his finish. He misses the double rope run corner splash, runs into Cabahna's Chonky Boi moonsault body press, and Cabahna goes through the whole complex sequence that is Johnny Saint's Russ Abbott to get the pin. Again, there is too much outro on this one, Colt shaking hands with ringside and Dirk hanging around for his valiant loser announcement. I'm going 2. This is fine. More entertaining than the 6-man. I know the crowd isn't fully in yet, but I think this would have worked much better in a smaller room with the walls closer to the back row. Not being able to hear everything they're saying to each other, I think, harms it a bit. But they had good chemistry together. I thought very often when you put 2 comedians together, it doesn't work because nobody's the straight man. But yeah, I thought these 2 did very well. Eddie, did it live up to your expectations?
I was a little bit disappointed, but I enjoyed it. Colt Cabahna, as Dan
yes.
Reid liked to keep calling him, was very irritating at certain points. But there were some good spots. I mean, the pin, the finish, the kind of going into that pin was quite good. I was a little bit disappointed, but not as massively comedic as I would have hoped in terms of. And I get you had to kind of get to that serious part, but yeah, it was good. It was decent. I'd probably go the same with you. The exit with Cabana shaking hands with people in the crowd. I see you, Christopher Egan. I see you. And obviously get stopped by someone wearing a Ring of Honor hoodie and pointing at it saying, "I love you too," and then walking off. And I was like, "What was that in there for?" But yeah.
Andy, you were shaking your head again. Are we going to disagree throughout the night?
I think we're going to disagree here, mate. I went 3 stars on this match.
Really?
Now, I take Eddie's comments about it wasn't as funny as you thought it'd be, but you don't need to do everything in what is basically a dart match. But what they did do, I thought was entertaining and gelled pretty well. I thought Dirk didn't look out of place with Colt Cabahna. One thing I will say about this show is the amount of Asai moonsaults. Fucking take a shot for every Asai moonsault.
That middle rope took a pounding, didn't it?
My word, it's like they learned a new maneuver at training school. It's like, oh.
Every agent has basically just went, right, you must include, like, it's like a TW thing, you must include one Asai moonsault in every match you do at least once.
Yeah, but as well, I know Eddie mentioned it, I did pop for Dan Reid's Cabana, which, Eddie did a good impression of it last time, didn't you, Mr. Sideburns?
Colt Cabahna. I kind of get exactly where Andy's coming from as well about the whole kind of, you don't have to do everything in terms of that. And yeah, again, Dirk does not feel out of place, which is really kind of good to kind of show that, he can kind of hang. And obviously, Cabana's been over in the UK at this point for about 2.5 months because he said he'd kind of cancelled his trip home.
Yeah, this was the trip where he fell in love with British wrestling.
Someone sent him a tape of World of Sport or the Wrestling Channel.
No tape. He was, wherever he was staying, he just watched the Wrestling Channel on Sky.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Expensive hotels if they have Sky in it. But...
I think it's whoever's floor he was crashing on. You know how British wrestling touring works.
Yeah.
Ben, any notes on this from you?
Yeah, I think I'm closer to Andy than I am to yourself, Kieran. I really enjoyed this. I remember enjoying it at the time, and I equally enjoyed watching it back at the last few days ahead of this. I agree. It would have worked better in a small hall. There's a lot of kind of like comedy, a lot of dialogue, a lot of comments, and things like that that kind of get lost. But at least they are still doing it in kind of like the pre-show. They're still playing to just the first few rows rather than the 20th row, for instance. But yeah, I think I really enjoyed it. It's a great fun match. I love that I always love that crisscross look up slap spot. That's one of my favourites in wrestling. Yeah, good stuff. Really enjoyed it.
So we get the Uprising music video. On the night, this was a shambles. So for the first time, the FWA had entrance videos on the stage screens. Trons, you might call them in wrestling parlance, or visions, as the creator called them. I didn't make these. I had to dump off a load of footage and send it to some bloke in Corby who put them together. The point is, though, nobody thought how this was going to work because Ralph was in the arena tech box halfway up the wall opposite the hard cam, but the video equipment feeding the screens was on the stage, didn't have any audio output anyway, and nobody had thought to run a cable between the two. This isn't too much of a problem when it's just someone's theme tune playing and a loop of their big moves on the screens, as Ralph just hits play and when Matey Boy hears the music start, he plays the video. It is a problem when the sound and video are supposed to be in sync. So when this video played in the building, it was at least a second out of sync and was, for me, having made it, was absolutely horrible for me to watch. On this DVD is the censored version, so lots of black and white for the blood shots, etc. And then the official opener, Uprising, begins with the Next Generation three-way dance. Ross Jordan versus Aviv Mayan versus Spud. And allowed out of his void, ring announcer John Atkins with a name graphic.
Yay!
His first ever, I think. Ross Jordan has Andy's favourite racist Japanese panpipe music that used to be Hayes' Babyface theme. Spud has different music to when we saw him on the Enfield round robin. It's much better and doesn't have any robots in it. And I never thought I'd say this, but the commentators from the main show are thankfully Tony Giles and Nick London.
Woo. Mate, it's like JR and the King in the pomp, this, isn't it, compared to them two. Dan Reed were okay. We're just like, do, Barry Cheryl Lambert, terrible.
It was it's that feud that they did with JR and Jerry the King on Raw and Al Snow and Jonathan Coachman on Heat.
Yeah.
Could it not have been Michael Cole and Taz on SmackDown? Oh, actually, no, they were decent. So Aviv and Ross start out by doubling up on Spud, the little guy. I say little, he's not that much smaller than Aviv, really, is he? He's too quick and slippery, though. He dodges them, he drop kicks them, and flies all around them, and we go back to square one. Commentary point out that Aviv has his abdomen bandaged due to an infection or a sheep bite, as Nick London would have it.
I did put, they mentioned about he got an infection from basically insinuating he was shagging sheep, weren't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They do some three-way chain wrestling, which Spud comes out on top of again, giving Aviv a double knee strike in the corner and then sending Jordan crashing into him as well. Mayan and Ross team up to wheelbarrow suplex him to death and then do battle with each other. Spud gets a 2 on Aviv with a corkscrew splash over the top rope, but when he tries to baseball slide Jordan, he gets flung into the railings really hard. By the way, just how far is the front row from the barriers? You could get another row in there.
And quite often people try to make their own row standing at the barrier in front of the people who'd paid £60 for their front row seat.
Yes. I did notice opposite the hard cam, filled up with kids when the entrances happen. And then sitting directly opposite the hard cam is photographer Amy Hannifan and her mum, and them shooing all these children away when the matches start so they can see.
It is interesting because like, you look around the ringside, it's obviously the biggest crowd they've ever done, but the ringside areas, it's still the same familiar FWA faces that you get in Box One Civic Hall. Yeah. It's all the same people.
Yeah. So Aviv joins the lads on the outside with a slingshot Rana and gets a near fall on Ross with a crossbody off the top. Jordan comes back with this lovely spinning leg lariat for his own 2 count and clamps Aviv in a kneeling Japanese stranglehold. And with Aviv yelling, "No, no, no," because he's the only one of them that can see it coming, Spud breaks it up by hitting the pair of them with a drop kick off the top. Spud tries to get the win over Ross with a wheelbarrow bulldog, but Aviv pulls him off the cover and they go into this fast-paced spot that sees Spud hit a satellite DDT and takes them both out of the ring with a clothesline over the top. Aviv Mayan being the only person on the roster that Spud could believably clothesline over the top rope. Jordan sends them all sprawling up the aisle with Andy's favourite, the Asai Moonsault, before Aviv wipes them out by whipping him so hard into the barriers he almost takes out a man who has paid a pretty penny for his gold ringside seat. Back in the ring, Mayan gives Spud a proper vertical drop brainbuster, which pops Nick London, but Ross flops into the ring to break the cover. Ross has Aviv set for Nightmare on Sing Street. Spud tries to interrupt, but Jordan catches him coming in and ends up with a simultaneous reverse DDT on Mayan and a regular DDT on Spud. He tries to follow up with a middle rope moonsault onto the pair of them, but they move, he lands on his feet, and they take him out with total elimination. A Spud superkick sends Aviv to the floor, where Ross has also rolled out, and Spud crashes down on both of them with a double springboard flip dive. Aviv flips over Spud to get back into the ring and goes into his satellite reverse DDT on Ross, but Jordan knees him in the head a couple of times and whips him over with a twisting reverse suplex. Aviv kicks out. Tremendous spot where Jordan gets Mayan up in the surfboard. Aviv and the camera see Spud climbing the top rope. Not wanting to get caught like he did with the drop kick, Aviv fights out of the hold and holds Ross's legs down so he takes all of Spud's frog splash. There's a 3-way crossface STF thing on the mat in which Spud also repeatedly headbutts Aviv in the back of the head. Nick London does a really good job of putting over what winning this match means. Not just the number 1 contendership for the All England title, but that the winner of the first one of these main evented the next 2 British uprisings. In a spot that seemed like a very bad idea, Aviv electric chairs Ross while he is in the middle of a delayed superplex on Spud. It is definitely Ross Jordan who gets the worst of this. He folds in half like a flip phone snapping shut. He looked like a taco. Horrible. Aviv tries to pin both of them, but fails, and sticks Spud on the top turnbuckle facing out. Ross plucks Mayan off the ropes into a powerbomb position and then flips him from there into an X Factor. When Aviv kicks out, Ross drags him back to the Spud corner and sets up to reverse superplex Spud onto him. Spud fights him off, but Aviv prevents him following up and hits a crap version of the Aviva Las Vegas double jump moonsault, but can't cover because of the sheep injury. Spud can cover though, as he crashes onto Jordan with a lovely Phoenix splash for the pin. He then immediately rolls to the edge of the apron and pukes on the floor. I wrote, stop the tape, I'm done. This match fucking slaps. I love this. This is even better than I remember it being. Everybody gets to shine. Arguably, in the first one of these, the young and inexperienced Raj Ghosh was a bit of a weak link. But here, all these three are experienced enough to know what they're doing, and it feels a little bit more of a wrestling match than the one long spot the first one did. I went 3 3/4. Andy, you're going to shake your head at me again.
On this occasion, Kieran, no. I
Fantastic.
think this
We're
is
friends again.
either equal or maybe the best match on the whole show.
I think so too.
Yeah, just non-stop action, which Spud will work for total non-stop action later in his career. But there was just a point during this match. I think it's a satellite DDT by Spud, and there's a point where the crowd are just like, go from here to fucking here. Like,
yeah.
that proper lifts them up in noise. Yeah, it's just bang, bang. I think it's much better than the first triple threat.
I think it's better than the first one too, yeah.
And that's the one that's more like acclaimed, isn't it?
I suppose it was so new at the time as well. That's because it wasn't just the first one. It wasn't just that kind of three-way match where two people are doing stuff and the other person's waiting.
Yes.
It was three-way spots all the time, three-way chain wrestling. So I think it was remembered more for being one of the first times that people had seen that type of match and things. Whereas this was, this one for whatever reason isn't remembered as being as good as the first, but it arguably is, if not better.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if they used the same lock 'em in the garage for a weekend that they did with the previous one.
I'm giving it a 4. I thought it was again, I can reiterate with everyone, I think it was really, really good. Everyone played their part really, really well. I enjoyed the fact that, it was at the beginning where they're doing the exchange and stuff like that, and it's like, hold on a second, we're teaming up on this guy, but I'm still going to kind of go for you, and they kind of wrestle on headlock and kind of stuff like that. Spud gets called the missing member of Busted in the beginning, which was great. It got a chuckle from me.
Because that's exactly what he looked like.
Yeah, and I think like the double DDT from RJ was great. That was like from Ross, that was brilliant. Spud stealing the win, but that Phoenix Splash is incredible. There was a Team Freakzilla sign in the crowd at the end. I was like, what on earth's happening here? But okay.
That's on the opposite side of the card to Pork.
Oh. It's like Pork, then Team Freakzilla.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought this was a really, really great opener. I gave it a 4.
I think one thing to point out with this match is basically these three lads have all been in the Shane-verse or the Doug-verse. So they are... It's not like the pigeonholed as like, oh, these are three like lower card people. It's three people who've been given opportunities as the big stars.
Yeah. So Aviv has beaten Alex twice. Ross got featured quite a lot in the mid to end part of the TV season, and Spud is the hot newcomer.
Yeah.
They match up together really well, I think.
It's a classic kind of FWA Alex Shane hot opener, isn't it? 3 baby faces, no heels, hot action match to open the show.
Yeah.
Is there any story about why Spud did chuck up massively at the end of the... Because he starts doing it a couple of minutes before the end. He manages to hold it in, does the splash, and then hurls.
It's not the only time I've seen him do it. I think he was just doing like too much with his midsection.
I don't know if it maybe took like a blow to the head, like a concussion type
I wondered
thing,
that as well, but he doesn't show any other signs of concussion. Like, there is no point where he's laying on the mat, like, dazed and looking out of it. I think it was all, like, stomach-related stuff.
As you say, he did it at IPW as well, like a year or so.
Yeah,
he cleared out an entire section of the crowd. But, yeah.
Yes. We get a repeat of the D'Lo Brown promo from the TV show. And then John Atkins introduces Tony Banger Walsh as guest ring announcer. He was on TV during World of Sport. He was... as they say, a tag partner of Giant Haystacks. The best way to describe Banger Walsh is how he was described to me. The Dino Scarlo of Coventry, and we'll leave that there. He waffles into a mic that's far too close to his mouth and running far too hot about how much he loves Coventry and wrestling, and that one of his sons is now a wrestler and the other one wants to be as well. He introduces old-time wrestler Ringo Rigby, who comes out, waves, and does fuck all. So here's a couple of facts about Ringo Rigby. His name is Les Hudspeth. He was trained by Mick McManus and once spent 4 months in Mexico, mainly teaming with Alberto Del Rio's dad. He does take his jacket off and teases going for Walsh as the crowd chant, "Lock up, lock up." He has much more bounce and energy to him than Banger has. Can he not do this bit instead?
I just love the fact that Banger, he takes off the guy, the other guy takes his jacket off, and then the Banger guy just goes, "Right, that's you now. Go away."
Yeah.
Like you have no use anymore.
Yeah.
He just looked like an official from the British Darts Organisation, didn't he?
They both did.
Two officials from the British Wrestling Association just wandered in and went, "Oh, we just have to give them something, otherwise they won't shut up about the old days."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we have to pigeonhole World of Sport in somewhere, which Alex Shane did on seemingly quite a few shows, and
it was big on TWC, as we've discussed.
Yeah.
You know? It was their highest rated show by a very, very long way.
This is your fault, Sean. Sorry.
It would have been better to get a bigger pop for the Corpse of Les Kellet than fucking Banger Walsh.
So this is 5-star Mark Belton versus D'Lo Brown. Belton has been to whichever charity shop Scott Steiner drops his old shit off at because he's wearing an almost chainmail headdress.
I thought he'd stolen it from like a lampshade,
It
like
does
some
look-
fancy
yes.
lampshade, and just put it on his head.
Yes.
It's not a Scott Steiner headdress, is it? It's more of a steel doily or something.
Yeah. It's the Halloween costume version of Scott Steiner. It's a 1920s like flapper headdress, isn't it? Banger introduces D'Lo as a wrestling phenomenon, which is probably the only time he's ever been introduced as a wrestling phenomenon, as much as we like him. He gets a big pop. As we talked about with Eddie Guerrero on the Revival episode, he's the perfect import. Mainstream name value, charisma, can work, and has smart cred for his territory and All Japan work. Between D'Lo, Belton and Linsky, there's 3 freshly shorn heads in that ring. It looks like a fucking coconut convention. So Belton stalls a lot. The idea is that he whined and complained that he wanted to fight an import, but come game time, he's perhaps getting cold feet. Brown yells, "What's my name?" and easily gets a D'Lo chant. The crowd also chants something that we don't chant anymore at 5-star, and he uses Linsky's hands to cover his ears. Eventually, after a couple of minutes of titting about, D'Lo manages to catch him and pinballs him all over the place with strikes. And after a little miscommunication, hip tosses him over the top rope and then gives him the old Silver King / Jericho cross-corner drop kick when he tries to get back in. Brown hypes the crowd up for a flip tope, and when Belton ducks away, gracefully rolls over the top rope and flattens him with the Chris Statlander flat-footed moonsault off the apron, eliciting a scream from Nick London. Back in the ring, 5-star begs off and tries to bait Brown in with a handshake, which D'Lo accepts but is too smart for any shenanigans, striking first and taking him down with a leg lariat. Brown pours it on in the corner with clotheslines, overhand chops, and the corner 10 punch, but when he goes for the head waggle after 9, Belton low blows him and hits an electric chair. Linsky, who was looking right at it, simply says, "Come on now, less of that, please." Don't shake your head, Eddie. He's a heel ref. He's supposed to turn a blind eye to this stuff.
I don't care. It was so annoying.
So 5-star is now finally in control with stomps, kicks, punches, and choking on the ropes. Brown gets a hope spot by just firing back with his own strikes and a middle rope moonsault, because we've got to have one in every match. But Belton kicks out, hoofs him in the face, ranas him to the outside, and hits a rocket of a somersault tope. Back inside, it's all Belton again with a jawbreaker and a simple flying fist off the second rope, and then a swinging neck breaker. "Mark Belton, climbing to the heavens there," says Nick London. Well, it's just a second rope, so I guess it's more like purgatory. When he does come off the top, it's with a flying body press that D'Lo rolls through and hoiks him up into his sit-out catatonic, but he's taken too much punishment to make a cover. He gets the crowd behind him, though, and goes on a tear, beating to Belton to every punch, a back elbow, a clothesline, a slam, and the head waggle leg drop. Isn't it amazing? It's just a normal leg drop, But that maneuver makes it feel like something big. He's not running. He's not jumping. He waggles his head and he sits down. Perfect. Belton kicks out of this, gets some punches in, but Brown reverses an Irish whip and pulls him into the sky high. Because of how Belton has fallen, though, he has to twist in the air on the lowdown, and that is the adjustment that 5-star needs to roll out of the way. Belton gets a near fall off a reverse DDT and another off his 5-star leg drop, which honestly was more like a 2.5-star leg drop on this show. He did not get any height or distance on that thing. Belton throws a little tantrum that his big move hasn't worked and attacks Brown in the corner again. D'Lo reverses a whip, but 5-star pops up over him as he runs in and then goes down clutching his knee. Linsky comes and checks on him. D'Lo goes to talk to Linsky, and 5-star rolls him up 2 big handfuls of trunks, and Simon from Bridlington clowns very fast before they both hightail it out of there. The fix has been in all along. Belton celebrates and taunts him from the aisle with star jumps, and then D'Lo calls out Linsky on the mic and says he didn't come 5,000 miles and spend 2 weeks in England to get screwed by the likes of you and by the likes of 5-star. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the back and whoop some 5-star ass. Big pop as he sprints up the aisle. I know they can't and don't all have the charisma and working ability of D'Lo Brown, but every babyface should watch him in this match. He does so many little things to make himself and his opponent look strong and to get sympathy and get people behind him. His timing and ring positioning are perfect. And the way he gets the crowd behind him after that catatonic spot is so simple but so effective. Everybody in that building was feeling for D'Lo Brown. I think there are a couple of points where Belton gets exposed a little as not being on this level, but overall I think this is really solid, and I went 3 1/4. Anybody want to argue?
No.
Tremendous.
I went 3. I agree with you in terms of Belton really does get exposed a bit in this. He's just not on D'Lo's level, which again is obvious, but he's not even in that kind of at the moment. He's not in that echelon of someone you would put with an import and get something really, really good out of, from as far as I'm concerned. But D'Lo made this a free. Again, he's the most professional man with everything he does, especially within his FWA run. So, and I've spouted it from the high heavens. He is probably one of the most professional men in wrestling, from what we've seen. So, yeah, I give a 3. I do think it exposes Belton. The referee stuff, yeah, is just irritating. But again, I know what it's getting to because it's Linsky's heel run here. And it was, okay, he's running out really quickly. And then I made of it, so is the fix in here? Was this planned beforehand? It must have been. But yeah, I'm giving it a 3.
Yeah, 3 stars for me, I would say, Kieran. D'Lo carries this match.
He kind of does, doesn't he?
To some, acceptable. It's this style of match is very similar to what you'd see on, during the Britwres boom. Was, put one of our guys against an import and see what happens. And you saw what happened here. Well, Mark Belton, this and the promo later on, he just comes across as just not a star, even though there is some good wrestling ability there. There's a level to this, and I think D'Lo shows that. One thing I did enjoy was when Belton did the dive to D'Lo on the outside, and you just notice in the corner John Atkins and Bangor Walsh discussing what they're having for the takeaway. Whilst the match is going on, the proper in conversation with each other. I'd love to know what was being discussed there. But yeah, 3 stars. D'Lo, the fucking man.
5 hats out of 10 for this. I think it's a perfectly decent match, isn't it? I think it's a forgotten match. It's one that I'd forgotten had even taken place. But it's one that it is built. I mean, there'd been no build on the live shows for this at all. It was entirely announced and built, and promos and things on the websites and the TV shows since the last show. It's kind of just always put on there. But I mean, as you say, D'Lo's the perfect kind of babyface import, isn't he? And for some reason, he's always been massively popular in the UK. UK fans have always loved D'Lo Brown.
Yeah.
Is that memorable character from the peak WWF era, and he's managed to stand out with crowds over here ever since.
Was it Sunday Night Heat, innit?
It was a lot,
Yeah. Sunday Night Hit. And I think what also helped him is he was in all the video games.
Mm.
There are lots of people who got into wrestling through playing the games.
Yeah,
I think you are being harsh on Belton, to be fair as well. Because I thought he looked all right here. I thought he's got a decent. He looks in shape. He looks kind of like he moves well. His moves look like they've got a bit of a snap to them. I see what you're saying about the charisma and the presence and stuff, but I think in terms of the execution, he looks all right.
For me, there are just a couple of bits where he wasn't in the right place. Let's say he was in British wrestling place for the spots, not WWF TV place for the spots. And that's what D'Lo's used to, I think, and expecting maybe.
I think he looks better undressed than he does later on with a suit and shirt and tie, where he looks like...
No, stop there. I'm clipping that. That's a promo clip.
No, where he looks like Gareth from The Office. He looks like an absolute dweeb.
I mean, I think the whole okay, I'm a heel now, so I have to cut my hair off was a bit kind of. I think that's a bit. It's a decent stretch for it.
That's what the barber said to me the other day. He's like, do you like having a number one? Everyone nowadays just has a short back and sides and what have you. Said no, it's practical. That's what it is.
And Andy's like, yeah, I'm doing a heel. I'm a heel now. I'm going to run in with a chair during the main event of a show down the road. Hurry up. This is a much better look than the straggly hair look he had when he first came into the company.
I mean, I guess, but
he's got a Nick Jackson hairline, which doesn't help. If he's got long hair, it looks like he's running away from his eyebrows. This helps him much more.
Generic creator wrestler version 2 on the video game.
Yeah,
is this in essence really? But
yeah. We get the same build-up clips for the Last Man Standing match that we saw on the preview show, this time with some musical backing and some handy text that gives context that probably should have been on the TV version. So it's Hade helping Alex Shane beat Jack Xavier in the Broxbourne Last Man Standing, Xavier and Vanson going to a double knockout, and then Jack finally pinning Hade in the 6-man tag. This is indeed Hade Vanson versus Jack Xavier, All England title Last Man Standing. Drama School Venom out first in the bin bag jacket. 3 women have a sign that says Hade, hung, horny and hot, which I guess makes him the first ever Quadruple H.
I remember those ladies. They referred to themselves as the Hade gals, and they were always the vocal, high pitched Hade supporters in FWA crowds.
Mm.
Well, obviously because he's hung, horny, and hot. But there we are.
Absolutely.
I honestly did read the hung bit as hungry, and I was like, "What the fuck's he hungry for?" originally, and then I saw, "Oh, there's no RY. It's just he's hung." Okay.
Xavier out, and Jesus Christ, that entranceway really should have been lit better. You can hardly see him on the stage. Hade vaults over the top rope and tears off up the aisle, and they start scrapping straight away. And Vanson swings off the entrance truss into a rana that sends Jack tumbling down the ramp. He threatens to German suplex Xavier off the stage, but Jack fights out, knocks him to the floor, and hits a moonsault off the stage. They fight back down the aisle into a great spot where Jack reverses a whip towards the ring. Vanson hops up to clear the apron and hit the ropes, but Jack takes him out with a clothesline when he lands. Hade also takes a cracking bump when Jack Yakuza kicks him over the corner to the floor. The one he takes into the railings off an arm drag, however, is a bit less impressive, as they're a step too far away, and he sort of rolls across the floor and brushes it with his arm. Back in the ring, Vanson does a silly roly-poly to knock Jack off the top rope, but makes up for it with a solid German suplex and a brainbuster for the first count. Xavier's on his knees at 6 and powers through a barrage of kicks to his chest, firing back with his twisting spinebuster, a flying forearm in the corner, and a discus elbow. Hade somehow manages to kick Jack in the back of the head while bumping for this move. Hade avoids a corner charge, comes back with the mushroom stomp off the middle rope, and this is where it all goes to shit. Hade undoes one of his wrist straps and starts choking Xavier with it for 4 whole minutes.
Can't we tell?
You may ask why this is a problem, and the problem is censorship. So I overheard them planning this, and I said, you can't do that. the DVD will be under scrutiny and almost all of the TV repeats are pre-watershed. If you do it, nobody is going to see it because it has to be censored. Please don't do it. And Haig gave me this insincere, yeah, okay. And then in the match, I saw him wrap this thing around Jack's neck and I thought, you fucking idiot.
So the actual DVD itself, what rating was it?
It wasn't. That's the point. We went over this before.
Right.
Kenny McBride dobbed the FWA into trading standards because they had just been selling their DVDs as exempt because for a long time wrestling was seen as a sport when it came to video release and got marked with the exempt category. Then the WWF and WCW stuff started having to go through the BBFC and getting ratings. And the FWA is not going to pay to do that. So they were just selling their tapes and old Kenneth McBridge went, here, do you see what this lot are doing over here? So we had to censor fucking everything.
Oh, it's like me doing podcasts saying, oh, this is kid friendly, these podcasts, when it's a load of pissed up blokes around a table having a few pints.
Can I just double check it? Is Kenny McBride Scottish?
Aye.
Grass. Fucking wheat grass. Okay, move on.
Kieran, did you ever have any kind of like guidelines as to what was too violent and what could stay and what could happen? Or was it more to your own judgment as to this feels a bit too...
Mostly my judgment. Really, I was given no choice. Like it was going to have to be censored for the TV broadcast anyway. This only ever broadcast once, I think, uncensored, and then all the repeats were pre-watershed.
So you were like the forerunner for like Christian getting that blue dot over his face.
Yeah, the consequences of Haig's actions combined with the technology of the time frame which this had to be produced in, and me having already told them that I quit the company, meant that Jack Xavier's head, neck, and as much of the cord as possible is covered by a big black circle. There are also long sections of freeze frame so as not to show Vanson hanging Xavier in various configurations. It was the hanging I remember them planning, and me telling them, like, every time I've ever seen this on wrestling TV in this country, it's had to be censored. You can't do this, and they just went ahead and did it anyway. So fuck the pair of them.
You should have cut a hat guy in the front row. Do you know like they did on Morning W?
What I don't want to get lost in all of this is Tony Giles' moronic line that just because this is a no disqualification match, it's not anything can go, he needs to keep his hands off the referee. Fuck right off. If I saw a last man standing match with a load of brawling and weapons that ended in a DQ because one guy grabbed the ref's shirt, I'd be straight to the box office demanding a refund. That is horse shit. So, Christ, what happens in this? Oh yeah, Tony goes on. He says, I've never seen anything like this punishment. And I wrote, neither can we, because that black censorship circle is taking up at least 40% of the screen, sometimes more. Haig shoves some drunk bloke in a PWG shirt, and when Xavier tries to run him from the apron, swings him into the barriers. Drunk man is sat down by security, I noticed after this, so nothing gets tasty.
I saw the orange jacket walk over and be like, settle it down.
With the cord finally off Xavier's neck, Hansen delivers... Hansen? Yeah, whatever. Oh, it's just reminded me. One of my friends at the time who came to FWA shows once took a sign that said Vade Hansen is a much better name anyway. Vanson hits the South City Driller, the implant DDT version, not the big silly one he does on Aviv. But Jack beats the count, sends him out the ring with the Nipsuguri. He runs into a thrust kick when he tries to tope, but recovers to hit the X-Plex off the apron to the floor. I laughed when Haig almost entirely missed the mats and hit the concrete in the aisle. Given how the feud has gone, this would have been a great finish. Alas, they beat the count. Xavier fetches the belt and crowns Vanson with it twice. He confiscates John's chair, which looks like it came out of a school dining hall, and after a long search under all four sides of the ring, throws a section of guardrail into the ring. He sets it up with one end on the chair as the crowd, uncensored, apparently, chant "fuck him up." Haig gets dumped onto all of this, and it immediately sags. Jack places the belt on his face and goes up top. Vanson recovers, kicks the ref into the ropes to crotch Xavier and hits the South City Driller off the top. Jack can't stand. Haig wins. Before I take both feet to this, does anybody have any comments?
Jack Xavier has went back to stupid fucking babyface school again.
Yes.
Because there was that time where we were like, oh, maybe he's actually learned. And no, he has not learned. Fucking dumbass.
I remember actually on the day, this kind of fell flat with me because the first 5 minutes was all done well up on the stage, in the aisle, just up near the entranceway, and you couldn't see a thing. A lot of the crowd just could not see what they're doing.
And that's all the best stuff.
Yeah. A lot of the crowd, so it lost about half the crowd straight away because they couldn't see anything. And then
I thought the first 5 minutes of this was really good, and then it plummeted off a cliff.
Yeah, and then there's obviously the bit where Hayes just beating on Jack for what feels like an age, and Jack gets absolutely nothing, so that kills the crowd as well. It just kind of falls flat. It's nowhere near the level of the Jack Xavier's other last man standing match that year in FWA, which obviously this is the sequel to, which it's obviously going to get compared to, but it's no comparison.
Now, with this talk in here, it's changing my mind. Because
really, did you like this?
For some reason, I've put 3.5 stars on this.
Wow!
But I think that might be the last, the bits after the fucking big black blow went off the screen. Like the stuff like with the X-Plex to the outside, which I thought, I'm not fucking taking that maneuver.
No.
And the way Hayde wins the match as well. But at the start, I know you said about that 5-minute point when it was on the stage, but there's a good 2 to 3 minute section of the match where it just sags. Like you sort of forget what they're doing during it.
Even that big X-Plex on the floor just gets a muted reaction. I mean, that's a huge spot for one of the big spots in one of the featured matches on this show that's been built up for months, and it's no reaction.
Yeah, so I went 3.5 on it, but I'd probably reduce it now to about 2.5 because I've took your points on board. And yeah, and I thought this is when I watched it, I thought this is one of Jack Xavier's better performances because I've buried the fuck out of him, haven't I?
I went 1.5. Even at the time, I never wanted to see this again. The first 5 minutes are really good, and then it just dies. If you really want to see this uncensored, I found my footage from it, and it's on the FWA Files channel, uncut and upscaled, but it is still nearly 19 minutes. In fact, I'm just on Cage Match. This match is over 19 minutes long.
And do you hate it because of the fact that you told them specifically, by the way, don't do this, and then they did it?
Possibly.
Part of it, that.
Possibly, but like Andy and Ben have also made the points, like they lost the crowd at places.
No, and I absolutely agree with that as well. As I said, I think it's, and again, Jack Xavier goes back to being a dumb babyface, which really irritated me more than anything. Because he's just that bit where I saw it was happening where he hits him with the belt twice, then he can't find a table, so he instead just steals a guardrail. And then just places the belt on Hayde's face. And immediately I knew, okay, nothing's, Hayde's not going to get hurt here with that. And it was just very, very annoying. And this match, it is very, very, it was started off hot and then immediately just goes stone cold at the near end.
Eddie,
Yes.
do you feel that this probably had to be Jack Xavier's crowning moment, winning the title, and they just pulled the rug from out of him, and he feels Yves Mayan level again.
It's like he's been built up and hyped up with everything, and you think kind of finally now, okay, finally we're maybe going to do something. Because he's really only just been stuck in this feud for a good wee while of his title reign, really more than anything. So you're like, okay, are we now going to go with it? And then just no, we're back to Hayde retaining it. And it just was like, oh, that was a bit of a, did they just not believe in Jack Xavier anymore? Is it just a case of, he's no longer going to be wrestling anymore? There's numerous things, but it just felt very flat at the end.
It pretty much is the end. I mean, Jack Xavier hangs around FWA for another year, but this is pretty much the end for him now. This is the last time he's ever in a main storyline or a main feud or has ever given anything meaningful to do. He just kind of potters around doing pretty much nothing for the rest of his career now. This is the as good as it gets for him.
Wow.
So we get the whole massive video package from the preview show to build up the 6-man tag. Drew McDonald's interference letting Simmons win the tag title shot. Birchall returning at the start of the Family Hampton Court tag title match to go handbags with Drew. Travell splitting from the Family near the end of that match. AS interrupting Lambert monologuing in the locker room and getting punched out by McDonald. Thunder's debut with Travell getting bloodied on the jacket spikes. The Dean AS promo in Amarillo, East Sussex. Dean's full indoor promo in front of that blind that had been gaffer taped to the wall, and Greg's horribly out of focus rebuttal. So it is the triad of Drew McDonald, Raj Ghosh and Thunder versus Birchall, Paul Travell and Terry Funk. Heels out first to Drew's terrifying theme, and then the faces out individually to their respective tunes. The crowd are chanting for Terry Funk the moment Drew's music gets shut off. They also chant, "Please don't go," at Birchall as the news had come out that he had signed with WWE. I do remember that throughout the day, this was all people wanted to talk to him about and also not talk to him about. It was a big elephant in the room. The atmosphere was very different to usual, and people were treating him very differently.
Were they calling him like a scab, like the Miners' Strike or something?
No, not at all. Like, I mean, there were some people who were like shaking hands, "I'm happy for you, mate," and all the rest of it. And some people who were clearly very consciously, if they went to talk to him at all, were trying to talk about anything but that. For what it's worth, I made his audition tape. He came over to my place and picked out some FWA footage. He also brought a few tapes of him in other companies, and I captured them and put together a VHS and a DVD he could send off. I think I've told this story before, but I came downstairs while the video was rendering to find him jammed into one of my regular size armchairs, casually chatting with my girlfriend of the time about their favourite herbal teas. You will never look at Birchall the same way once you've heard him talking about elderflower teas stuffed in an armchair in Hemel Hempstead.
I mean, Birchall signing at this time, it's kind of like a massive deal at the time, wasn't it? I mean,
yeah,
these days,
he was one of ours made good, right?
Yeah. I mean, these days, like indie guys, dozens of indie guys from all over the world are signed up like all the time by WWE.
Yeah,
but this was rare. This was, and especially for it to be a Brit, for being like one of ours. When was the last time a Brit got signed to WWF or WWE?
I mean, I was just about to say, this is like the first Brit since what, like Regal? Bill Regal?
Oh, Regal, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
And where's he been picked out of? Obviously, has he just been told by someone like an international scout? Maybe Drew McDonald?
Drew McDonald. It was all Drew McDonald.
Yeah.
So Drew was the one who convinced him to change up his image, grow his hair out, get in shape, that kind of thing. You look at what he looks like. He looks like a fucking action figure when he comes out.
Yeah.
He's in proper fed shape. He looks great. Compare that to the thick, chonky boy we saw at British Uprising 1 beating up the New Breed.
Mm.
Like, he's completely different. And yet it was all Drew McDonald.
A couple of years I'll be told to watch Pirates of the Caribbean, and then, off to the races.
No, I think you'll find he went through his family tree and found out he had some pirate lineage.
Oh, yes, absolutely. It wasn't an old man who had just watched a pirate movie, of course.
Yeah. So the music pick for Terry Funk doesn't suit him one bit. All the baby faces meet up in the aisle, and Dean does an extended disclaimer naming them all, and the crowd sing along with any broken bones. Another ill-fitting track plays, and out comes someone I had completely forgotten about, special guest referee Jimmy Hart.
With no megaphone. Where's his megaphone?
Yes, yeah. He's one fucking gimmick. He has two gimmicks, doesn't he? Yeah. He carries a megaphone and he wears sunglasses, and he doesn't have either of them in this match. I asked Dean how this came about, and he replied, "I seem to remember that he was already in the UK for something else, like discussions and meetings about some project that likely never got off the ground. He wasn't hugely comfortable doing it as he wasn't ever a referee, but was happy to take the payday. I remember chatting with him for about an hour before the match about managing, and I asked him how he made being a babyface manager work, because I found it really difficult, and he said, 'You can't, it sucks,' which was kind of reassuring." I also had a little chat with him before the show. He was just sort of hovering around me while we were setting up, and he's got loads of experience when it comes to wrestling TV production. I can't remember anything specific, but like he was just very nice and very interested in what we were doing and how we were making it work on basically fuck all money. I think this is, if not the only time he was a referee, then it's almost certainly the first. The only other reference I could find to Jimmy Hart refereeing anything was an August 2024 show in West Virginia where he did the outside the ring enforcer gimmick for a cage match. You know, first ref gets knocked out, he runs in and makes the 3 count.
To be fair, he doesn't referee much in this match either, does he? But well.
No, not at all. And Tony Giles is on commentary going, I don't think he's suitable for this. I went in my loft. I found another speedboat. How long is it between the final bell of the last match and the first bell of this match?
On the DVD version?
Yes, on the version that we watched on the FWA Files channel. No scrolling through YouTube now to find out. Just give me a guess. Closest wins.
15 minutes and 52 seconds.
Okay.
No, it's long, but it wasn't as long as I'd say 8 minutes.
Okay.
I'll go 10 minutes.
Andrew Ogden, you are the winner. It is 18 minutes and 43 seconds.
What is it, fucking WrestleMania?
Yes. It's insane.
Just an advert of Alex Shane staring at you while awful music happens.
I'll tell you what we're going to be shown was the best of Alex Shane DVD with...
Well, it's because they had to scrape Jack off the mat. There's all of the build-up stuff that was on the TV episode gets dropped in, and then don't forget there's entrances for 6 people, and then when you think right, it's time to go, out comes the fucking ref. So the bell goes, and then it rings again 30 seconds later. God knows why. Travell and Ghost start. Funk almost tumbles into the ring reaching for a tag and then gets a big pop when he does tag in. And I love Raj's reaction. He's being held in a wrist lock by Paul Travell and he is doing anything to try and get away from Terry Funk and getting beaten up by Terry Funk. Terry hits the DDT, but Drew breaks the pin. Birchall comes in to get him and Hart has to break things up. 60-year-old Terry Funk and 49-year-old Drew McDonald go at it. And I wrote, Ultimo Guerrero versus Blue Panther, this was not. Funk does take a very Terry Funk bump out of the ring, though, like upside down, backwards, and landing on his head. The heels work over Funk for a bit, then Birchall gets a big pop for his debut, and then they get the heat on him as well. Birchall manages to suplex Drew and then gives him the Rolling Samoan Crash, the Moonsault, and the Standing Shooting Star. Raj breaks up the pin, and Nick London says Raj was not going to be denied a loss here tonight. And I wrote, shut up. This goes all second fall at Arena Mexico's. Everyone just starts fighting all over the place. At some point in this, a chair got thrown and I felt the wind off it as it missed my face by an inch. In the ring, C4 on Raj, Thunder breaks the pin. Bit of black and white vision as Paul Travell is bleeding all over the place. Drew brains Birchall and Funk with a spanner and Terry gigs. They're trying to hide it with constant movement, but this is rubbish. My next note is in all caps and it says, more heat on Birchall. You have a small guy and an old man on that team, and the one doing most of the selling is the box fresh monster. Birchall is selling for Raj Ghosh, for fuck's sake, the man he destroyed at Frontiers of Honor. They're basically triple teaming him. You've got Thunder trying to distract the referee, Drew McDonald choking Birchall, and Raj Ghosh just stomping away on him, shouts Tony Giles. Hey, don't forget Greg Lambert. He was there holding his ankle on the outside as well. Well done, Nick London. You got a laugh out of me. So this is where Tony complains about Jimmy Hart being a shit ref. Travell hits Raj with a top rope dropkick, and Funk collapses a whole side of the barrier when Drew chucks him into it. So that's why the front row was so far back. Ghost backdrops Trav halfway down the ramp. Funk batters McDonald around ringside, and Lambert takes a bump for the mere suggestion of a punch by Dean Ayers. This is the point, some 3 hours into this goddamn thing, that Raj Ghosh decides that now is the time for a fucking submission hold. Thankfully, Terry Funk wants to go home and breaks it up with a crawling headbutt. Travell and Jimmy Hart also decide they've had enough. Paul hits Ghosh with the sacrificial slam, and Hart counts the pin like a whack-a-mole speed round, and it's over.
This is no George South and the Rock and Roll Express against St. Clair Monster Corporation from Juggalo Championship Wrestling, which was an absolute fucking train wreck, but it was pretty damn near close. My God, this was the drizzle. This was drizzle shits, but not the drizzling.
It was. It wasn't a train wreck, but it was certainly a train hitting a car on a level crossing. Like, it was bad.
Like, if this is Birchall's final match for FWA, which I hope it isn't, but if it is,
it is not. There is one more.
Thank fuck. 'Cause imagine it going out on this.
Oh,
Jesus.
I wrote, fucking hell, 6-man war was right. I felt like 6 men had kicked the shit out of me trying to review that. Just a mess, isn't it?
It's just crap. I know the reasons why it's crap, and I'll probably go into a bit of that. But it just goes on and on and on. It's got no direction. It's got no structure. There's nothing to follow. There's no peaks and troughs. There's no drama. It's just some grumpy old men, sort of wannabe hard men, just beating on people, not wanting to show any vulnerability whatsoever, just going on and on and on and on and on. And yeah, it's.
And Kieran makes a great point. Why is all the heat on Burchill? Like, you've built him as this monster. Like, if anyone needs to be the heat, Travell can do a heck of a job of it. Terry can probably at least try.
Yes, you got Terry fucking Funk in the match. Who is not going to feel sympathy for a 60-year-old man getting beaten down by 3 thugs and beating all over the place, while the hardcore icon and the fucking action figure are desperate to get the tag and get in the ring?
Yep. And
this version of Burchill should never be in tag team matches. He should not wait for anything.
No, and there's certain moments where in it, it's like, okay, so why are these guys getting the upper, like, why is maybe Raj Ghosh getting the upper hand a little bit on Burchill? Like,
yes,
under a push, I can see it because he's a bit of a bigger guy, and maybe the same sometimes for Drew. But if you're showing me Raj Ghosh getting a lot of heat on Burchill, then what the fuck are we doing here?
I will say, fair play to Drew for taking all of Burchill's signature stuff. Like, he is, like I said, 49 years old, bad back, in terrible shape, but he took that Samoan crash, the moonsault, and the standing shooting star press without moaning about it. So good on him for that. Before I go in, Andy, go on, what you got?
You know
3 stars, great walk and brawl.
No, it's not fucking Alex Shane in this match, is it? Come on. I thought maybe the worst match I'd saw this week for a podcast recording was the Fabulous Moolah versus Wendy Richter. And then this match said, hold my beer. Fucking...
This wasn't worse than that, come on.
It's fucking dreadful, mate. It's minus levels, definitely.
Wow.
Few notes. Raj Ghosh's gear that makes him look like Drew McDonald's son. They basically...
You can't do that to me.
Thunder, the biggest guy in this match, the commentator says, as Greek god Paul Burchill says, hold my fucking beer.
I know. Even Drew's bigger than him.
It's just the point when they all go out of the ring and it's like time stood still. No one knows what to fucking do they? It's like, you can almost see, I don't know, that probably Alex Shane in the corner of the room with his fucking pencil, like, go fucking home now, please. A mess, an absolute mess. -3.
It just seems like, as well as you're saying, like, 3 of the 6 of them, they've paired themselves off in pairs and just went, we're just going to do our own stuff at this point. And then someone's went,
that pretty much was it.
Yeah, and then it's like, do you have any plans to kind of go home with this? And it's like 3 different ideas, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake.
I mean, I've heard both Dean and Greg Lambert talk about this. Like, Drew wasn't receptive to planning anything. He and Terry weren't going to plan anything anyway. Raj Ghosh and Paul Travell are from the school of planning a load of stuff. Thunder means nothing and never shows up again. And Birch was on his way out the territory.
Do you think Drew McDonald was being stubborn?
I think he was being old school, right? You call it in the ring.
If you ever read Greg Lambert's first book, he goes into quite a bit of detail about like some of the trouble they had in like putting this match together backstage. Apparently, like Drew, as you say, Drew wasn't up for doing much. He just, for some reason, didn't want to put much of a shine on Paul Travell. He thought he shouldn't be selling for Paul Travell, who's the person who the shine was supposed to be on coming out of this match. Thunder was just being a complete arse and not wanting to cooperate with anybody, just wanted to protect his complete hard man image, and that's why he just beats Burchill all around everywhere. It's just, yeah, they had a lot of trouble just getting to actually go along with anything. There's a funny bit as well, because apparently, similar again in Greg Lambert's book, apparently Thunder was angry with Greg because during all the build up to British Uprising, all the publicity, Greg was putting like stories into all the local press and things like that. So there's newspaper articles, and so there was like a Darren Walsh, local wrestler, that come and see him on this huge show in Coventry, and apparently Thunder got really angry at that because he works a lot of the doors in Coventry on the clubs and things, and he didn't want his real name being attached to wrestling. So now, because he didn't want people knowing that he was into all this like fake pro wrestling shit. So
how would anybody know? Half his face was covered by a lovely plastic mask.
Ben,
just kind of shows the attitudes. The attitudes in play here. Like, he wants to be a hard man as much as he can on the show, but then doesn't want anyone outside the show to think that he's doing this fake wrestling.
I can just imagine Ben on the evening just going, Darren. Darren.
Even after the match is finished, it's still a mess because Dean is trying to celebrate with Funk, but the old fella clearly can't remember which side this manager is on and isn't sure if he's supposed to deck him or not. Then Hart is trying to get them to all pose together, but Travell and Funk are deep in conversation and trying to have a moment with the barbed wire bat. It's such a mess. Yes, he is leaving, but having someone who was your indestructible featured act for 2 years selling for Raj Ghosh for minutes on end in a 6-man match on the biggest show of the year, in fact, the biggest show this company would ever put on, is a fucking travesty. Yep. You paid God knows how much for Terry Funk, and this is how you use him. I presume he went into this match because it doesn't know when to quit and goes on forever, forever, forever.
Forever, forever.
Even the manager versus manager stuff that was kind of the whole thing was built on. It's completely played down. It's not they don't even come to blows. I think Greg Lambert just falls on his own arse at one point.
Yeah. If this absolutely had to be a 6-man, why not make it tornado hardcore rules? They bash for each other for 10 minutes and the baby faces win.
I mean, do you think Dennis Stamp was supposed to be the ref? And then he's like, oh, I need you there, Dennis, I need you there.
You're taking any excuse to uncork that impression, aren't you?
Absolutely. But I think, like, I think the main point of this is, as I said, Birchall has been unstoppable for 2 years, sales to Raj Ghosh, and then, like, as I say, what are we doing after this? Like, what is happening after this? Because obviously it sounds like the triad is basically done.
Yep. Never appears again.
So they've done one match, or maybe, and that's it.
Yep.
And 2 of them sound like pricks, and one of them just seems like he's just happy to be there and Ghosh. Really?
I believe this is Drew McDonald's final FWA match as well.
Yeah, it is. It's Raj's final FWA main roster match as well. I think he only ever did Academy after this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So basically the entire triad is done.
Yeah, the only person that carries on is Travell. Yeah. So John Atkins introduces head doorman Phil Flash Barker, who comes out with one of the random short-skirted women that Alex had corralled to sell programs and shit at the shows. He is here to announce the result of the roster poll as to whether Johnny Storm should be allowed back into the company. The gimmick is that the top 22 people on the roster each get a vote, and if more than half are in favour of his return, then he returns. On Cage Match, you can sort a promotion by lifetime roster and then see by year who was on the most shows that year. So I filtered by 2004, and if you leave out Johnny Storm himself, who would otherwise have been number 11, the top 22 in the FWA of 2004 are Aviv Mayan, Alex Shane, James Ty, Jack Xavier, Mark Sloan, Doug Williams, Hayde Vanson, Mark Belton, Paul Travell, Simmons, Ross Jordan, Birchall, Spud, and this is where it gets tenuous. In fact, it gets tenuous at Spud, I think. Stevie Knight, Damon Lee, Zebra Kid, Raj Ghosh, Dirk Feelgood, Steve Corino, Styx, D'Lo Brown, and the Duke of Danger. So the FWA ran 18 main roster shows in 2004, and Aviv Mayan was the top of that list. He appeared on 16 of those shows. Duke and D'Lo were on 4. You can figure out the rest in the middle for yourself if you like. So Flash explains the gimmick, says the roster have voted, and says the result is apparently James Ty's music. So he comes out And I wrote, Phil, you can just carry on talking. It's only metal. They can hear you over it. Ty and Belton come out. Tony calls 5-star James's new tag team partner. And James himself goes to introduce Belton as his friend, but stops himself and says colleague instead. If that was intentional, that's a great bit. So Ty moans that he beat Johnny a loser leaves match, so there's no way he should be allowed back. The crowd chant, shut the fuck up. Well, not like that, obviously. And James replies, do you people kiss your mother with that mouth? The heels mock Flash's bad knee, his reason for retiring. James says he and 5-star are active wrestlers and Barker isn't, which makes them... What the fuck? How have I written that? I'm just going to read it verbatim. Fuck it. We'll do it live. James says he and 5-star are active wrestlers and Barker isn't, which makes them active wrestlers. Well done, Kieran. So they get a vote and he doesn't. He also drops the bombshell that they haven't voted yet. And they both sign in the no column on Flash's special bit of paper. And Tony talks over Ty saying that those two votes mean it's 50-50. And the wording was that Storm needed a majority vote to be reinstated. James Ty with the line of the night, when he leaves, he stays. Well done, buddy. Good work.
Great job.
There's something very funny about it being the biggest show in company history and getting a close-up of Flash Barker mouthing, gimme my pen to Mark Belton. Like, so parochial. Like, this is happening in an office. So James smugly hands the mic back to Flash so he can announce the result. Flash looks sadly at his clipboard and says he doesn't want to do it, but the results are in. Jody Fleisch's music hits. Monster pop. If you were in any doubt about the FWA fan base's feelings towards Jody Fleisch, here you go. Fleisch comes out, massive welcome back chants. He takes his life in his hands by climbing onto the barrier while using the lighting rig as support. That's not going to help you, mate. Jody says he missed the fans. He says he has 2 reasons for returning on this show. First, to thank all the fans. James rolls his eyes. Secondly, he's been watching his FWA TV, yay, 1 viewer, and has seen all this stuff that's going on with Johnny Storm. In a voice so clear, I looked over my shoulder in the living room, shouts, it's not the same without you, Jody! He says the other night he was on the FWA website and noticed his face was still on the active roster page. It actually was. They never updated the page after he left. James figures out what this means right away, and he's not happy. Jody says that Flash can correct him if he's wrong, but surely that makes him an active competitor, which means he gets a vote. He asks Flash if he is officially still a member of the FWA, and Flash confirms that yes, he is, and yes, he gets a vote. So Flash signs and Barker makes it official. Johnny Storm is back in the FWA. Crowd goes bonkers. Belton has an argument with someone about his shirt and tie combo, I noticed. Then Ty gets a mic, and he says it looks like Jody has been spending his year out sitting on his arse and eating McDonald's. Shut up, you twat. He is in fantastic shape. Jody says, are you telling me I can't vote because I haven't been active in the past year? And I'm like, this is not a good look, James Ty denying black people the vote. Jody pulls off his shirt and says, let me show you just how active I can be. Ty can't stand to see another man get naked and not join in, so his shirt comes off too. They circle each other. Belton clubs Jody from behind and they beat him down. The crowd chant, we want Johnny, but it's just Ty Star stomping the Phoenix into the mat. And then we go to a recap for the next match.
Good segment. I liked it. I mean, the sound is crap. You can hardly work out what's being said, but I think it's quite clever the way they do it. It's they explain. I mean, it's hokey. It's like cheesy wrestling stuff, but it's actually quite, the vote stuff's quite clever. It's a good way of getting different people involved, drawing different things together. I quite liked it.
My only question is, does it belong on the biggest show of the year? I know it has the Jody return, but does the rest of this segment belong on the biggest show of the year in place of, say, a match?
I think because
it definitely belongs in place of another 5 minutes of that fucking 6-man, I'll tell you that.
I think because of what is going to happen potentially later on, it kind of does have a part in it, I would say. But I think, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the idea of it. It's like a new version of, instead of like a fan poll, it's a wrestler poll more than anything, which is kind of quite interesting. And I think it does make sense because of the Jody pop and the Jody return. And then obviously now they've kind of, Johnny's back. So it's like, oh, but he's not here. Oh, well. And then obviously we'll talk about it more as the kind of show goes on. But I think it does have a purpose.
For me, it just took it from feeling like WrestleMania to feeling like Monday Night Raw.
I agree with Eddie. You know, it's obviously the thing what happens in the main event, you know, supplements it, but it could be one of those things that they truncate it into one 10-minute segment where Jody gets beat down and then Johnny still gets the big pop coming out and, you know, they all hug and kiss. But I will like to point out here, James Ty, much better on the mic here, bit more personality, is improving.
If he leaves, he stays.
He's much better as a baddie, isn't he? I mean, he was always good at the kind of like the wrestling side of things. His execution, and he's good at doing the holds, but he was always that bit of thing. Whereas now he's got a bit of extra. He's interesting. He's got those. I mean, he stumbles over his words a couple of times, but he's got those. He allows him to do those natural instincts of going back and forth with the crowd and getting into arguments and stuff.
Or that's damning with faint praise from me, because when we get into the match later. Yeah, I don't know, but Mark Belton just feels like underling of the week. Not good.
Yeah. Did you like his I've just been to Burton's attire he was wearing?
I said he's like Buddy Gareth off The Office.
Yes.
Yeah. He doesn't look. You know, you couldn't imagine him suit and tie in Evolution, could you? Matt Jindrak's getting in before him, and he didn't even get in Evolution.
Yeah, I said earlier, he looked looked in good shape, looked like a proper pro wrestler, looked like a bit of a hard man, really. But he comes out here with his shirt, cheap tie, looking like a complete dog. Dog.
Was it the lack of a jacket? Do you think if he'd have had a jacket on with the suit, it would have helped?
No.
Why does he have to? Why can't he just wear a t-shirt? Why does he have to wear a school uniform?
Fine. Maybe he wanted a job with the Fed as well.
It just looked like he's going to York races if he put a suit jacket on.
So the recap video they cut to is for the tag team title. So we get Stevie announcing the quest for the title, losing with George Castano against Simmons and Burchill, chewing out George for getting beaten, Hampton Court over Family for the titles, Stevie and Dirk Feelgood coming out short against Hampton Court, Sloan pinning Simmons to claim the #1 contendership for the title thanks to Knight's distraction. Our guest ring announcer is Colt Cabahna in an FWA shirt, a Union Jack tie, and a jacket that I think he legitimately borrowed off Andy Coyne.
Say it right, please. Say it right, please. His real name.
Sorry.
Proper name.
Colt Cabahna.
Thank you.
There we go. He makes a joke about having a silly American accent, takes out his notes, which are half a dozen A3 pages gaffer taped together to look like a very cheap scroll. He unrolls it and introduces the challengers. Sloan has the Sloan cones. Stevie has a lovely cape. The crowd chants speed bump. Stevie mocks Cabahna for not even making it onto the main show, and Cabahna responds, "I did too. I'm the special guest ring announcer." Stevie fronts up to him and says, "You have been here 2.5 months, and I'm sick of seeing you. I'm sick of your Yankee ways, and I'm sick of your tired comedy act." Cabahna apologises for his goofy ways and says he's going to do his job, and then he grabs Stevie in a ballroom grip and forces him to tango to his music. Stevie breaks it off after a couple of bars, but Colt knows that he likes it, really.
Yeah.
Champs come out. No idea who Stevie is talking to, but the camera catches him mouthing, "You'll feel the back of my hand, bitch," to somebody in the crowd. Sloan attacks, thinking Knight is going to come with him, but he's chatting to the traffic safety squad in the corner, so the specialist comes a cropper. Sloan picks up a title belt to use as a weapon, but Knight takes it off him and celebrates. Simmons grabs a headlock on Stevie, and the bell finally rings for Hampton Court versus Mark Sloan and Stevie Knight for the FWA tag title. I was trying to think of names for the tag team of Mark Sloan and Stevie Knight as they're getting a title shot here. Did anybody come up with any good ones?
The obvious ones, the Sloan Rangers, isn't it?
Specialist Knights.
I got 4.
Mm-hmm.
Sloan and Groan, Speed Bump and Old Grump. One that's probably a bit harsh, actually.
Bear in mind, Stevie Knight, when this is happening, is like 28 or 29 years old.
Yeah, he acts like an old grump. But this one's probably a bit harsh on at least one half of the team. Knight and Shite. And and given that Stevie Knight's from Grimsby and the other guy's got a certain ring style, Fish and Kicks.
I went with the shining speed bumps, the shiny monkeys, light on their feet, because don't forget Mark Sloan loves feet, the shoe breed, and given how Mark Sloan dresses for his matches, knights in shite satin. Right. So Stevie gets kicked in the hole when he tries to drop down, and Hampton Court work him over with quick tags, and Simmons does this weird Bee Gees joke with him. The Purple Cobras take their leave for a tactical huddle on the stage. Simmons tags in Buttercup and whips her into a hip attack on Stevie. She goes to step away, but Knight grabs her by the hips and pulls her back in so her ass is rubbing on his face.
Good spot, that.
Yeah. He falls victim to the Simmons splash in the corner, though, and an elbow drop. What they're trying to get over on commentary and doesn't really show on camera is that Sloan has snuck out of the huddle, but Quilden doesn't realise it and is yelling up the aisle for him to come back to the match, when in reality, he's skulking by the apron waiting to strike. Strike like a speed bump in the night. There's some sort of mess over whether Sloan is legally tagged in or not, but Simmons and Knight just keep going anyway. Knight hits a pump handle Michinoku driver, which made me realise this is Magnum Tokyo's old Viagra driver finish. And Sloan actually tags in. Andy, you're making a face.
Viagra driver.
It's the Viagra driver, yes. And then when he changed his character, it became the Egoist driver. But the original name for this move was the Viagra driver.
What, did someone's hand start to grow, or?
Well, the original Magnum Tokyo character is that he was a porn star.
Ah, a bit like... because BB Holt was based off it, weren't it?
Yes, he was. Do we have to get into the minutiae of Dragon Gate here?
Dragon Gate section.
Yes, so BB Hulk was sort of like a mini Magnum Tokyo, but do you know what the BB means?
Buxom blonde?
No. It means boy on boy. It's telling everybody that he's gay.
All right.
Yeah. It's a designation within Japanese porn movies, basically.
Right.
Don't ask why I know that. Fuck, where did we get to? Right. Sloan goes to work on Simmons, while Nick London informs us that Sloan has previously been FWA champion and All England champion, so a win here would make him the first ever Triple Crown winner. I have another speedboat. Nobody ever won all three main FWA titles as we know it, so the flyweight title doesn't exist yet. Name me someone who has won two of them.
So what's this? The FWA title?
So there are three titles. FWA British Heavyweight title, the All England title, and the Tag Team title. 6 people have won some combination of two of these.
Alex Shane.
1 point for you.
Mark Sloan.
1 point for you.
Paul Terrell.
Martin Stone.
No, but Ben is right with Paul Travell.
Jody Fleisch.
No. Well,
Okay.
he has an asterisk. He is 6.5.
So I'll take a half then. Cool.
Yeah, all right, you can have a half point.
Sticks.
No. One more guess each.
Flash Barker.
No.
Ooh.
Johnny Storm.
Yes. Andy gets one more guess and then the game's over.
Oh, God. Gotta be someone shit, innit? 5-star Belton.
No, it was not. I'm afraid not. The answers are Alex Shane, main title and tag title. Mark Sloan, main title in All England. Johnny Storm, main title in All England. Vade Hansen, main title in All England. Stevie Knight, main title and tag title. Paul Travell, All England and tag title. And the asterisk is for Jody Fleisch because he won the main title and the All England title. But when he won it, it was not called the All England title. It was still the European Union belt.
Okay.
So ends FWA pub trivia. Heat on Simmons, including Knight biting him on the dick while holding him in the pendulum backbreaker. Simmons makes the tepid tag while Knight is yakking with the crowd on the turnbuckles and gets superplexed. Duke with some clotheslines and then takes a drop toe hold into the middle turnbuckle. Buttercup appears to go around to check on him, but it's actually a planning meeting, and she skitters around to the ramp side of the ring and starts showing Stevie some leg. Knight gets the hint, tags Sloan, follows her up the ramp. The funny part is she gets near the top, but it's clear she can't make the last step in her heels at that angle and has to wait to be propelled by Stevie onto the stage and through the curtain. In the ring, Duke tags Simmons, who kicks away all the Sloan gnomes and connects with the Butler Buster for the 3 count. Rubbish, but it's supposed to be the palate cleanser before the 2 big serious matches. 1 star. I will invite any debate.
Myself, 1 star again. Shit. There was a good comedy portion at the start of the match, and then it just descended into, TV match, if anything. Given the build, which there was quite a bit of build for this match, it felt a bit worthless, but I do see its point of where it was in the card because you have the 2 big matches.
The problem it has is so far we've went shit again. We've double shit.
Eddie.
Some may argue we've triple shit because the match before the 6-man was the last man standing match.
Oh, yeah.
So we are in the saggy middle hour.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've had deflating shit and then double shit. Sorry, Andy. Yes.
Yeah, he's very much like Homer when he falls off the cliff and then he goes back up, and then he's looking there. He goes into the tree and then falls back down again. We're in that section.
The ambulance comes in, drives off, crashes right into the tree, and then he's back out again. But it's just, I agree it's a 1-star shit, but it just very much, again, we've had this big build up and we've got to this and it's like, oh, okay. Well, that's a bit, yeah.
Is it that much of a big build up when the video package doesn't even show Sloan and Stevie Knight teaming once and they're the number 1 contenders? Like, the FWA never had a super solid tag division, but it is the bottom of the barrel at the moment.
I think that's disrespectful to Andy Ogden's favourite tag team, the New Breed, and also Colombia's finest, the Castanos.
I was going to say, is this Castano's erasure?
It might be Castano's erasure. But no, like, on the TV, though, we have had quite a bit of a build-up when we've needed to with this. Yes, the video package hasn't saw them teaming, but Stevie Knight, for the entirety of this kind of run at the moment, has been trying to find a tag partner to dethrone Hampton Court. And then we get to that, and it's like, no, just Hampton Court wins. Okay.
Hampton Court have definitely been one of the most featured acts on the entire run of FWA TV, haven't they? They've been presented as one of the front and centre kind of acts that you will see pretty much week in, week out. It's a completely different kind of atmosphere to Simmons and Mania, and just a few months ago, that tag title win in Broxbourne and everyone going absolutely crazy, the camera shaking and things. There's, again, muted reactions. The crowd is flat. They're not interested. Is it the fact that, yes, it's Simmons and is almost like a small hall act to the cult regular FWA fans, but it hasn't translated to the bigger TV audience? Are they just not interested in his story? Or is it just that the match was crap and didn't take them on the journey?
Is it a case of, is that he is the bigger star in his tag team and Duke of Danger is just nothing?
It's the biggest star in the match. Like, Knight and Sloan are a thrown together team.
Yeah. Sorry, you created this, Ben. This was all you with the Simmons going over.
Entirely.
But Duke of Danger is just, again, we've said it before. He's just there. Simmons is more over.
Yeah, although I do think it was quite funny that Duke on his entrance looks right into the camera and goes, "I'm the man." No, you're not, mate. So we get the same build-up clips for the heavyweight title match that we saw on the preview show, again, just with some graphics and music. Steve Corino calls out Alex at New Frontiers. Doug comes out to do the false advertising bit and sets up him and Corino. Alex costs Corino that match with a chair shot, and then Jack Xavier belts him in the face and drives him off up the ramp. Doug saves V from his chain chair shot in Morecambe and gets given the 3-strike speech and decides to take that 3rd strike by decking Shane. Alex, Joe Legend and Leroy Sincade batter Doug and cut him open with the belt. We get the Danny Williams angle from Broxbourne, clipped from the press con in Barry's pub with Shane, Doug, Danny and Flash Barker, and the finish of Shane versus Corino with Doug returning and smacking Alex in the head with the belt. Welcome to the Black Parade. My Chemical Tony Giles interviews Alex Shane earlier today. Giles looks like when Peter Parker gets taken over by the alien symbiote in Spider-Man 3 and starts dancing down the street.
It's probably Tobey Maguire in it here.
Yeah, exactly. Tony says he spoke to Doug Williams earlier, but apparently didn't take a camera with him. And Williams is apparently supremely confident that he'll be leaving Coventry with his title. Alex starts with, you see, confidence is, and I thought he was going to break into Park Life. He actually says, confidence is something you can tell by looking in a man's eyes. When people look in my eyes, they either love me or they hate me. The people that want to be led by me look into my eyes and they see a man they want to follow. And the people that despise me look into these eyes and they see a man they want to fear. Confidence is what made me the host of the TalkSport National Wrestling Radio Show at the age of 21. Confidence is what made me the managing director of the FWA at 22. And confidence is going to make me the British Heavyweight Champion for the second time at the tender age of 24. And Young Corks' favourite phrase he's been using in the past few months. You see, when the smoke has cleared, the dust has settled, and it's all said and done, one of us will be leaving the Coventry Skydome tonight with the shiny gold belt and all the women, money and accolades we could ever need. The fuck you will. And one of us is leaving without that belt. On his own, I'd forgotten that Alex Shane cannot say the word his. He says he's every time, as in belonging to he. Drives me up the fucking wall. With nothing, he says, whoever's leaving without the belt leaves with nothing but doubt, questions and self-pity and all the time in the world to think about it. You see, Doug Williams, I know which one I'm going to be, but the question is, do you know which one you're going to be? In case you don't, let me answer this for you. You, just like so many other people in Alex Shane's life, are going to be used for exactly what I want and exactly what I need. Fucking hell, saying the quiet part out loud. And I will take what I deserve, and that is the FWA British Heavyweight title. And the fact that I'm using your body and using your name and using your reputation to make me look and feel good means, Doug Williams, the anarchist, that tonight you're nothing more than another Alex Shane one-night stand. So no silly catchphrases, just a question. Look into these eyes and let me ask you one thing. Exactly how confident are you really? And I wrote, this is his Jake the Snake promo, isn't it?
I liked it. I thought it was a good promo. I thought it was effective. I thought it set the tone really well.
It would be nice to hear from the champion. I know the champion is Doug Williams, who is not known for his speaking ability, but Alex has done all of the promo work leading into this.
But Kieran, where's William? Well, what's happening?
To be fair, you could just do, if you think Doug's not a confident speaker backstage and you're not sure about it, just do one of those black and white promos with music, where what he speaks, but it doesn't. The sound doesn't come in, then it just goes on a black page with an actual speech of what he's saying or something like that.
Like a fucking Buster Keaton film?
Yeah,
where what he's saying pops up as a caption.
Yeah, at this rate, fucking, Alex Shane is doing all, as you've already said, he's done all the talking for this, all of it. It's like they just don't trust Doug.
What I would say with this, it's a fucking 5-star chef's kiss promo, innit?
Really?
I know he's a confident fella, and he mentions confidence 5 or 6 times during this promo, but he's just spot on with everything. There's just no space for just thought. It's just like, yeah.
I think it's one of his better ones because he's not yelling and shouting and doing all his usual shtick.
Yeah. But yeah. I did love his line about, like everyone in my life, you're going to be used. And I could see you fucking, I don't know, eye rolling at this as you were filming it.
I don't know if I filmed this or not. I don't remember this. So maybe I didn't shoot it.
I think one of the things as well is people who love me and will follow me everywhere, and I was like, yep, Kieran was that at one point. And then there's the people who despise me, fear me, and it's like, I don't think Kieran would would fear you, mate. I think he would just think you're a cunt.
Oi. So, Alex Shane versus Doug Williams, British Heavyweight Championship match. Nick London talks about Alex Shane banging nuns when he comes out with the Leather Jacket Appreciation Society. Everyone is on their feet in anticipation for this, and Doug gets a good pop when he comes out.
This is the real main event?
It's been pushed on TV as the main event.
Yeah.
What I wanted to ask here, and I know it might be brought up later, is the reason, I know this is a TV main event and the other bit ends up on the DVD main event, but is it because they can't be shown to see age? Because AJ Styles is like a contracted wrestler. Was there a point that come in? You know, like what ended up with Britwres, where they couldn't show him on live telly, or you have to show
No,
them on
absolutely nothing to do with that. There were two reasons. The fans would go home happier after half an hour of great wrestling between AJ Styles and James Ty. And Alex wanted to save something for the DVD to get people to buy the DVD.
All right.
Because, I mean, I'll go into a bit
Also,
more
it means the last image of the TV show is him walking away. The TV version is him walking away with the title.
Whenever Pucci's not on screen, everyone's like, "Where's Pucci?" And now Pucci's finally won the belt. But yeah, like there's like one of the things I was going to say as well, like, and we'll talk about it a bit more. That I kind of see that point, obviously, and it was with the commentary. It was felt like, oh, this is the. And I was a bit confused by that, so I'm quite glad it's kind of been kind of confirmed that that's what happened.
In all of the TV build up, this was called the main event. It was only on the night with AJ and James going on last that Atkins called that the main event when he did his ring announcing.
I'm just imagining John Atkins turning to everyone and going, "By the way, guys, I'm just going to say this is the main event, but really it's only for the TV people. You don't need to worry. You've still got another match."
They're still their two biggest stars of the in the entire roster. The biggest heel, the biggest babyface. They're being kept apart. Their first ever singles match in the FWA.
Yes, yeah, I was just going to say, their first ever singles match in the FWA. And in fact, they barely had any matches against each other in the FWA. Any interactions they had have been in Hammerlock. They didn't cross paths in UWA when Andy and I were watching that. It was something Alex spelled out in a promo on a TV episode, that they have, although they have almost constantly been in the same promotion, they've been on different paths.
It's the biggest match FWA could put on with its home roster.
Yeah. Tony Giles calls Doug Williams the James Bond of British wrestling.
I was about to say, which Bond do you think he is? Fucking hell. David Niven, George Lazenby?
He's probably the George Lazenby of the FWA, isn't he? Sorry, Doug. Shane gets a mic and he tries to goad Williams into making it a no DQ match. Shockingly, Doug gets a positive response for being a smart babyface and turning it down, saying people have seen no DQ matches with Shane in them and last man standing matches with Shane in them, so they know he can fight, but what we all really want to know is, can he wrestle? Which is him turning around a Shane promo from a couple of weeks ago when Shane said, we know Doug Williams can wrestle, but can he fight? The crowd, instead of booing that they're not getting a gimmick match, chant, can you wrestle? And Doug says, no bullshit stipulations, 1-on-1, one fall. Andy Ogden cheers and runs around his living room. Winner takes the title. That could have gone horribly wrong with the fans turning on Doug for denying them a gimmick match. But I think it's a testament to how much they believe in him and how much they kayfabe or maybe not hate Shane, that they don't want Alex Shane to get what he wants. Doug also says he's tired of assigned referee Steve Linsky's biased officiating, so he is calling for him to be subbed out for an impartial referee. It is unfortunately not Eddie Roberts of Insane Championship Wrestling. It is, in fact, Mike White, who appears on the stage with Flash Barker. Yes, Andy, this is the same Mike White who was a crap manager on Transatlantic Wrestling Challenge, which makes him and Nikita the only two people from that series that have carried over into FWA.
Bloody hell, I remember us having a conversation on Twitter with Mike White about his appearances. Wow. Unbelievable, that's him.
Yeah. I don't think it's mentioned on commentary, but the significance is that he had trained at Hammerlock with these two, as well as Jody, Johnny, Sloan, Justin Richards, and all the others that broke away to form the FWA.
Right.
It also helped that he was a BBC sports journalist at the time and could get him some pub for it.
Yeah. Fingers in pies.
Tony Giles makes the shocking claim that if Alex Shane wins, he will quit his job.
Oh. And go to AJ Styles' humble abode.
He will leave Kieran's flat, or Coventry as it's well known, and never return.
I don't remember being in on the recording session for this commentary.
Oh, wow.
I was pretty much done. Like, I'd handed in my notice.
Oh, do you know where else they would have done it? Would it have just been someone else?
Well, they was usually done. If it wasn't my place, it was Tony's parents' front room in Muswell Hill.
No, okay.
It was probably Kieran with the door shut behind him, and with a cup to the to the wall, like, they're doing it all wrong without me. I want to go in, but it's locked, so I can't.
No, I'm hiding behind my sofa with these three idiots knocking on my front door. I'm not letting them in.
I'm just imagining Tony's mum hearing that he's going to quit the wrestling job, going, thank God he's given up that fucking hobby and he can probably go get a real job.
Finally, yeah. So Mike White chucks out the leather daddies, but not before Shane has whispered a secret plan to Styx's ear, same as he did in the Carino match. Doug ankle picks Shane and gets a 2 count straight away and then just bends him to his will with wrestling holds. Alex gets control once the match turns to strength, but Williams dodges an elbow drop and sets about him with his flying knee strikes. The 5th one is right into the side of his head, sending him outside. Alex wanders around to gather himself and feigns getting back in, and when he backs off, Doug clatters into him with a tope. He teases a German suplex on the floor, but Shane reverses it and runs him forward into the timekeeper's table, almost taking out Youngie and another of the short-skirted ladies. I'd noticed John Atkins nowhere to be found. He has wisely scarpered. Perhaps he got wind that this spot was coming. Alex follows up with a back suplex on the floor and wangs him into the post while Youngie sets about trying to retrieve the bell from the 3rd row. Back in the ring, it's all show stealer until Doug slips out of the check-up from the neck up and goes for the Chaos Theory, but Shane holds the ropes in the corner and comes out of it all with the greetings from Finsbury Park, which Tony misidentifies as the check-up anyway. It is a 2004 Alex Shane match, so guess what we're getting next? Yes, it is the rope-assisted abdominal stretch, the one submission hold in the Alex Shane arsenal. When he's had enough of that, there's a clothesline across the shoulders and a side slam for a 2 count. When he goes for the choke bomb, Doug hammer fists him in the top of the head and then brings him to the mat using the Xenia on a top leg squeeze from GoldenEye. So maybe he is British Wrestling's James Bond after all. Alex bites his way out of the hold and goes to the one night stand, but Williams escapes, bins him to the floor and hits the Revolution DDT off the apron, sending Shane halfway up the aisle. When he gets back in, they go forearm for forearm and then start running at each other. And when it's Doug's turn to be on top, he uses a forearm, and when it's Shane's turn, he uses the big boot. When it comes to the 3rd big boot, Williams ducks and they go down off simultaneous clotheslines. When they're back up, Alex tries charging Doug in the corner, but runs into an elbow and a boot and then gets hooked for the Chaos Theory. Unfortunately, White steps into the corner and they crash into him. Shane hits a low blow, goes for another big boot, but Williams blocks it and goes for a clothesline. Alex ducks and Doug mows Mike White down. Shane with another greetings and signals the hired goons to come back out. This is where London calls Leroy Sincade, despite his surname starting with a K. They haul the anarchist up for the one night stand. But hark, is that the opening riff of Queen of Darkness by Jezebel I hear? That can only mean one thing. With new long flowing hair and a bin full of goodies, Ulf Herman is back in the FWA. There are 3 men cheering on my screen right now.
Yeah, I remember when, as soon as that music hit, the first few notes, I just leapt in the air and ran straight to the barrier.
Which is very interesting because for the most time he was in the FWA, he's doing a tag team with Alex, and they used Shane's theme. So it's interesting that anybody knew Herman's theme in that room.
I think it helped the fact that it said Ulf Herman on the 2 big screens either side of it.
Oh yeah, probably. Well. Yeah. Okay. So the video guy knew he was going to turn up. Ulf takes out the security lads with the contents of the bin. Apparently we're not allowed to see him smash Leroy in the bollocks with whatever that was. The shot over Herman's shoulder as he approaches the ring with everyone on their feet and the people at the barrier reaching out to try and touch him like it's that Undertaker entrance with the zombie hands trying to grab him. Really cool. Ulf gets to the ring, snaps Shane's neck over the top rope. He staggers back into Doug's arms for the Chaos Theory but manages to duck out of the way, causing Herman to brain Williams with his bin. Shane and Herman then do a yakety-sax lap of the building behind the crowd, leading them up onto the stage where a dozen security members and FWA officials block Ulf and restrain him. There's some really good shots of this crowd of people holding him while he is screaming in the middle of it. In the ring, Shane hits the one night stand. White flops over and counts 1, 2. Doug kicks out. Alex hits the second one and White makes the laboured 3 count. Alex Shane is the FWA Heavyweight Champion. Shane leaves through the crowd because Ulf is still being held on the stage, leaving a lightly bloody Doug Williams in the ring with Ulf spin and Tony Giles out of a job. Nick London signs off with, "Thank you for joining us here on the Wrestling Channel," because, as we mentioned, if you tuned into that December the 12th broadcast, this was your lot, and they didn't tell anybody ahead of time. So apart from that bait and switch, how do we feel about the match?
I bet viewers must have been pissed off at not knowing them about that.
I seem to remember there was a bit of a kickoff on the UKFF. So when I made the advert for this show, I had been told in advance that it wasn't going to be airing, and made very sure not to put any footage from it in there, so there was no kind of false advertising in that respect. But yeah, like they very much led people to believe the whole show would be on the Wrestling Channel, and then they cut half hour off.
Wrestling for you. But this match, you know I'm a big Alex Shane fan.
Mm-hmm.
I've rated his matches going anywhere between 4 and 5 stars. This one, 2 stars.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. I thought
Interesting.
he give Doug fuck all. Absolutely fuck all here. It's the Alex Shane show all over. You couldn't tell me Doug Williams was the champion here because everything was based around what Big Al did. Even the running with the Benny Hill, Ulf chasing him round the fucking building, which I thought was funny. But then again, I thought the match was going to go on a bit longer, but it was like 2 one-night stands and like done. As a main event, it failed on every level. Not good.
Interesting.
It was okay, but I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't really feel much from it, to be fair. Because I don't know. I think I was paying attention to the match, but I wasn't really taking it in. And then the moment I kind of got back into it was when Ulf Herman appeared. And that had nothing to do with anything about the actual wrestling in the match. It was just, okay, this is just plodding along. And then, here's Ulf. I'm quite glad he's back. It made me now remember why in the Gold Rush thing that he appears in that bit now.
So I have been told when I made that Gold Rush ad that it would be a smart idea if I hinted at Ulf Herman.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would probably. I think I'm with Andy on this one. No, nothing
Wow.
memorable for me.
You see, I seem to remember on the night actually thinking this was my favourite match of the entire show. But looking back now, it wasn't. I still enjoyed the match. It wasn't the best match on the show, but I enjoyed it as a match. It's very short though. To say it's a Doug Williams FWA title match in the main event, I think it goes 13 minutes.
It's 13 minutes. Yeah. So the Dark 6-man is longer than this.
Yeah. I thought, Andy, was you saying about Doug Williams getting nothing. I quite like the opening stage as well. Obviously, he's challenged Alex to the wrestling match, and then all of a sudden he's putting Alex in all these different holds and positions we've never seen Alex in before. I thought that was quite good. But then, as you say, it goes into the usual kind of, I guess it's like more of a WWE style match, doesn't it? Kieran, was that you with the cameras chasing Alex and Ulf through the crowd?
Probably.
Shaking all
Russ wasn't going to do it, and yes, I know it's wobbly as fuck.
Kieran, you've got form for running like Usain Bolt.
Yeah, I used to be able to. Before I got heavy and got a bad knee, I used to be able to run. It is wobbly as fuck because there is no image stabilization in the cameras of 2004.
I'm going to say we're cross-country champion of Watford.
No. The funny thing is, I couldn't run at school. The only running I was any good at was 800 meters. I can't sprint. 400 is too long for a sprint, and then 1500 was just too long in general. But I could do 800 okay, and that was it. Still fucking hated it though because it was physical exercise.
So and
I didn't have a camera in my hand. Maybe I would have been faster if I'd been holding a video camera and chasing a wrestler. It's like greyhound racing. You know how they chased a rabbit?
Yeah.
Yeah, they let Alex Shane out of a trap, and I've got to run after him with a video camera.
Hey, I'll tell you what, about that run was hard at fucking payouts at the end.
Yeah, if I got paid.
One of my questions was the Tony Giles bit. That seemed kind of like I mean I get it because obviously it's the heel is trying to take over the company. It's like just suddenly out of nowhere it goes, if Alex Shane wins, I'm leaving, and I'm like, oh, is there something brewing here as well?
So that was to make changes for season 2 of the TV show.
Okay.
It's not a secret. He's not on commentary for season 2.
Okay.
And I think this was like just to add a bit of storyline to that.
Okay. So, are you going to tell us, or are we going to have to wait? I'm assuming we're going to have to wait to see who's on the commentary for season 2.
Yeah, of course.
Can't wait.
I find myself in an interesting position here. 3 3/4, one of Alex Shane's best matches.
Oh.
Yeah. My 2026 wrestling head would have liked the second one night stand to have maybe been the whole affair, which is the Avalanche version. Like, as a real exclamation mark to put Doug down. But I found it really hard to fault this. I thought it was very solid and a good culmination to the story that's been going on about a year. I enjoyed this way more than I thought.
Well, guys, thank you for listening to the last ever episode of FWA Nothing and Like It.
If everybody liked the same thing, Pornhub would be one video. I'm amazed that I liked an Alex Shane match this much.
I mean, I'm surprised that you liked this much and Andy didn't. That's completely
Yeah, I know.
surprising to me.
I thought Andy was going to enjoy this as well, but yeah. And I watched this twice, remember?
Yeah.
What did you give it on first watch? 4.5.
No.
I bet he just looks at himself and when the match is on, Kieran just tries to find himself at the camera and just goes, "I know how pissed off you were, son, and I'm glad you're almost. This is your last show, and you don't ever have to do it again."
We will talk about that later on.
It was a good match. It just probably a bit lacking as a title match main event, I thought. But yeah, it's certainly a very good match, I thought.
Which is interesting because Alex would have wanted to design it to be a good match because it's him getting the spotlight on him. But also, the Ty and Styles match has to follow it. I do remember, like, they went on. One of the other reasons they went on second last was they were like, well, Alex in particular, he was like, I cannot follow AJ Styles in a wrestling ring.
I think one of the things you said as well that I really did like is the fact that Doug was the crowd treated Doug well in the beginning bit when obviously like Alex was trying to do the. Because again, maybe it was the fact they've maybe seen quite a bit of hardcore matches in the evening.
Only, apart from the Iron Man match, which doesn't really count in this way, the only gimmick match on the show is the Last Man Standing. And if you think for, well, a year, 2 years leading into this, every FWA show had like a building circling hardcore match on it.
Yeah.
Which, as I said, like I would have given that kind of slot to the 6-man and cut it in half.
Yeah.
But I would say with this match, it just made me feel like it should have been Carino versus Shane here.
But then what do you do with Doug?
He can bugger off to Ring of Honor and Noah, can't he? It felt like that. It just felt like we need to get the title off him some way, but that's all he was needed for. Carino and Shane was the thing they've been pushing, and that match was excellent, and I think would have been, it's a way a notch above this.
It is difficult because, as I mentioned, the title just happened to be on the most in-demand wrestler in the country at that point. So if he's offered Ring of Honor dates or offered Noah dates on the same weekend as an FWA show, he's going to take those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, why would you want to work, Brent Hall when you can work Corrigan against you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
One thing I did want to ask for Ben is that obviously the Danny Williams thing was kind of talking about at the time. I take it there was absolutely no belief that Alex Shane was going to fight Danny Williams if Doug had won. There was like people going, "Oh, there's no way this is going to happen, and it's going to be Shane winning."
You see, I think that stipulation was only added on late anyway, because of course the last live show was Hotwired with the Danny Williams thing on.
Yeah.
They then did the press conference where I think at the press conference stage he was still supposed to be the guest enforcer or guest referee or something like that.
I don't remember him ever being announced as a guest enforcer. It was only the stipulation that if Alex Shane lost, he had agreed to fight Danny Williams, whatever that meant.
I may potentially remember it wrong though, but yeah, of course it never went anywhere anyway. Danny Williams was never to be seen again, but it's interesting. They kept the name alive up at least until this point.
Yeah.
Was there any fan backlash with him not being in attendance.
No, I don't think so. I think it
Do you
was
think anybody
a hot
cared?
angle. It was a hot angle at the time in Boxborn, but I think it's honestly like one and done. I think the FWA fans wanted the FWA wrestlers.
So it basically went like Homer back into the bush, never to be seen again.
Well, no, he had to get knocked out by like one of the Klitschko's, didn't he?
He
Like,
did, yeah,
Yes,
but
he did.
Vitaly, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. So, our other main event, James Styles versus AJ Styles, 30-minute Iron Man match. Andy's going to go to sleep while I talk about this. The choice of angles on John's intro sucks. It goes from the loose head in the stands with a side-on view, cutting across the line to my handheld and a view of its opposite side. Rubbish. The text on the name graphics is out of sync with the flame reveal, also rubbish. So we're starting off on the best foot possible. AJ gets caught up on grabby fan hands twice on the way to the ring, and just before he gets in the ring, you can see one of the barriers collapsing and me and a photographer pushing it back into place. 9:24 p.m. AJ Styles poses on the top rope because you can see the clock behind him hanging from the ceiling of the ice hockey arena that this was in. This building was really fucking cold, by the way. Fuck ice.
Yeah, well, it was the middle of hockey season as well, so of course the ice was actually there under the boards
Yes.
as well. It's not as if they take the ice away or melt it or anything. It was actually just boards on top of the ice. I mean, one of the things that actually did work really well though, freezing, yeah, but they actually had like at seat service for beer. They had these girls walking around actually selling beer to your seat. You actually just like wave, but you could like stick them on the floor. And they stayed cold.
No, the Noah show there was like middle of summer, wasn't it? So it probably would.
It was June. When's British ice hockey season? Is kind of like, is it about October through to Aprilish?
Yeah. So it would have been all right, but still, the noise from Jumpin Jaks next door came through during a bazaar and that.
You mentioned the kind of the big clock above the ring here, and it's not picked up on the actual video. But do you remember they actually used the scoreboard they actually used the hockey scoreboard to show the falls?
Did they?
Yeah, which I thought was clever.
I didn't remember that. That's clever.
They didn't use the game clock or anything to show the time remaining.
Yeah,
but they actually did use the actual.
No, possibly because it's wrestling and they might have wanted to work the time a little bit. But yeah, that's clever.
Whereas, of course, on the actual TV version, you don't even get an on-screen graphic showing you the time, the score, or anything at any point.
What I did was I timed the 30 minutes myself because I wanted to see whether it was legit 30 minutes.
Oh, Gadge sideburns. Is it accurate? Is it 30 minutes?
I think it's maybe out by like a minute or so, but it is.
Okay.
But one of the things, like, as you say, when you're watching and you see the bit where you see the clock and it's like 22 minutes past 9 or something like that when this first starts to happen, and you're like, wow, like, again, this is wild that, a main event could probably finish about 10.
Yeah.
Don't get that nowadays.
But that Dark Six Man, you see the clock in that as well, and it says 5 p.m. So this show has been going on for 5 hours by the time it finishes.
Yeah.
I think it bears repeating, perhaps for younger fans. Between 2002 and 2005/2006, AJ Styles was possibly the hottest, most in-demand wrestler in the world. And Tony Giles just somehow randomly being mates with him meant the FWA were able to get dates on him. His previous match with Ty popped the biggest ever Broxbourne attendance. They filled all the seats, they sold standing room, and I think they even had to turn people away. It was packed. The first 10 minutes of this is really just well-executed mat wrestling that doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things. If you like tight headlocks, though, this is the match for you. They speed up and start rope running, I heard that, but have different ideas. They have different ideas about where a spot is going, so James dives on AJ with a neck lock while they sort things out. They run it back and end up with Styles doing his drop down drop kick spot. They go outside and AJ foils a whip into the barrier by leaping over it and catching Ty with a thrust kick as he approaches. Back in the ring, AJ is in charge with that lovely dynamic knee drop that only he does, a suplex and a flying lariat in the corner. But Ty catches a kick, talks him face first into the mat and keeps him down with a tumbling neck breaker. James continues working over the head and neck with a chin lock, a leg drop, a corner clothesline and a brain buster. Styles won't let him hit an exploder though. and goes for a discus clothesline. James catches the arm, hooks him for a pump handle side effect, but AJ slickly manoeuvres behind him in midair and turns it into a crucifix for the first pin. 1-0 AJ Styles. Styles very quickly gets another 2 count off a roll-up while Ty is arguing with Linsky about the pinfall. Styles gets a couple of struggling hope spots against Ty's attacks, but gets clotheslined and at the halfway mark locked in the Texas Cloverleaf. James Ty's favoured submission hold of late. We're told how he's got submissions over Ross Jordan and Spud and those kind of people. It's all James Ty for a few minutes. There's a lovely spot where AJ backflips over one backdrop attempt but runs straight into a second. AJ gets banderaed over the corner onto the apron, and I don't know what the original plan was, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't the slingshot half Frankensteiner thing that sees them both take an ugly tumble to the floor. I'm not sure if the bucket under the timekeeper's table is for a raffle left behind by the Sloan Army, or if it's Spud's puke bucket from earlier.
Could be all three.
The other thing I'm pretty sure wasn't the original plan was a whole side of railings collapsing when Ty gets whipped into it. James stuffs an attempt to send him back the other way, and Northern Lights suplexes AJ into another section of barrier. AJ fails to beat the 20 count, and Ty is awarded a fall. AJ Styles 1, James Ty 1. James is still in control when they're back in the ring. I think it's interesting that although AJ got the first fall and has had a couple of hope spots, this has really been Ty's match almost the whole way so far, and we're almost 20 minutes into it. So Ty does this perfectly executed surfboard that he pulls down into a chinlock with AJ still in the air. Styles escapes by pulling James's face up into the top of his head and just grinding his head into Ty's face. Ty recovers first, though, out of all this, whips him into the corner for a flying double knee strike and a bridging double arm suplex out of it. AJ manages to start forearming his way back into the match and hits a Pele kick to knock them both down. Styles, with in an all-caps sheer drop brainbuster, but James kicks out. Ty uses a backdrop suplex to escape a grounded chinlock, then mostly misses a moonsault, but AJ rolls the wrong way and still gets the shins in the ribs. You always roll towards the corner they're coming off. So they scrap about and headbutt each other on the mat, and then AJ fires up with a barrage of forearms. James turns his head away just as Styles decides to switch up which is his striking arm is, and James takes one of them right in the face, and for the second time in 2 matches, AJ Styles has broken James Ty's nose. Styles runs into a boot in the corner, but flattens Ty with a discus lariat as he comes out. AJ battles out of a German suplex attempt. Every time he hits James with an elbow, Ty's blood just splatters on himself or on AJ's back. It's pretty gross. Moonsault into reverse DDT, Ty kicks out. 25 minutes gone. Suplex into a neck breaker, Ty kicks out. James turns the Styles Clash attempt into a spinning face drop thing that Nick London's christens the black tie only. Styles kicks out. Styles fights off a superplex and gets another near fall off a springboard forearm. 3 minutes to go. Ty goes for a top rope Frankensteiner. Styles blocks it, and it looks like we're getting a middle rope Styles Clash, but James escapes. AJ sunset flips him and rolls up into Styles Clash position, but James beans him on the head with his calf to escape. AJ floats over a clothesline and tries again. After a struggle, he hits a powerbomb and holds the waistlock. When James pushes up to kick out, AJ steps over his arms and hits the Styles Clash for his second fall. This whole sequence, like from the Frankenstein onwards, I thought was really good. AJ Styles 2, James Ty 1. James now needs 2 falls in 2 minutes, and he's just taken the biggest finisher of the time. So Ty makes desperate lunges at Styles, who just sidesteps and then flings James to the floor. Unfortunately, he then mostly hits floor when he goes for his big flip dive, as James only has one arm out to catch him. With 30 seconds left, James struggles back into the ring. AJ grabs him for another clash, but Ty rolls through into a cradle, and AJ kicks out. With John Atkins counting down the final seconds, AJ escapes a scrappy backslide attempt and hoofs Ty in the back of the head. The time limit expires, and AJ Styles has won. Just for Andy, 2 falls to 1. Even on a match, even on a show that does not have a 2 out of 3 falls titles match, they still managed to get a 2-1 scoreline in just for you.
I love them.
So I get the feeling, snoring from Rochdale, you weren't into this.
There was AJ Styles in there, wasn't there? That's
Fucking hell.
Kieran, what I've got to say, from your notes, and, you know, credit to yourself, you're a professional podcaster, and from your notes, I sort of think, this is like a 4-star match. This sounds so good. But I watched it with my own eyes. It's AJ Styles just carrying this bloke for 30 minutes. I know it's a DVD exclusive. No one's fucking buying it for this, are they?
But they would buy it for that because it's AJ Styles.
And then they return the DVDs back to Alex and they won't get the money back, would they? Absolutely not. 1.5 stars for me. An absolute damn squib of a main event. Even though AJ Styles, fair credit to him, was excellent. James Ty, just stick to the mic word, mate.
Did you think you'd ever say that about James Ty?
No. But I flip-flopped, and I absolutely flip-flopped.
Yeah. I think you're being a bit harsh on James. This is not Bret Hart carrying Tom McGee.
I don't know, mate. I just felt after his promo with Jody Flash, I thought, right, we're gonna get a fucking great main event. I don't feel I've seen this match before, but when I seen the end product, I was like, I feel disappointed, and I'm reverting back to type. I just don't think he's the next big thing.
AJ Styles could wrestle a broom, and it would be really great. I thought this was. I would go 2. I don't think it was awful. I don't think it was horrendous. There's much more horrendous stuff on this show.
Yeah, that bloody 6-man tag's an abomination, isn't it?
Yep, it's this match is inoffensive. The AJ loves busting James Ty's nose. Hello, James. I know you might be listening. Cheers for the review. Don't worry about Ogden. We'll beat him up anyway. It's okay. But I thought like there were certain bits where I was like, this is quite, you know, again, AJ Styles is a technically sound wrestler. James Ty is technically okay wrestler. Sorry. But yeah, just there was parts of it that drew me in, like the blood bit and the bit where it was like also where you were mentioning it as well, Kieran, where like the blood was on AJ's back and stuff like that. And that kind of stuff, and then there was other things that AJ can do well, and I was like, yeah. And then there's just parts where I'm like, I'm kind of just ready for this to be over. So I would say 2.
You see, on the night, I thought this was flat, dull, boring. I don't know if it'd be those ice cold beers from the arena floor or the fact that it'd been a long show. But yeah, I didn't get into it at all. Watched it back the other day. I thought it was flat, dull, boring. The first 10 minutes is absolutely nothing. It's completely flat. There's nothing at all. Crowd's slow to get into it. I mean, that's probably harsh because there is probably a strong wrestling match in there. Actually, it's probably a really good, well wrestled match, but they're kind of hampered by the rules and the way they chose to use those rules and the way they laid out that match. I mean, James Ty was never ahead in the match. The bad guy was never ahead in the match. There was never ever any peril. There was never any drama. AJ Styles was in the lead and continued the lead until just time ran out. You're joking about it being the 2 out of 3 falls, but it was a 2 out of 3 falls match with a bit of messing around added on the end just to kill time.
I was going to say, obviously, the fall that Ty got, it doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah, it was a count out as well. James Ty did not score a decisive victory over AJ Styles at all in that match, and at no point in a main event match was he ever in front.
Was he X Division champion at the time? Does that maybe?
He was indeed.
Then there you go.
Yep.
Jeff wins again. Not for me, brother.
Mentioned massive popular. I mean, he was, as you say, he was mobbed on the way to the ring, wasn't he? Everyone stood at the barriers, shaking the barriers, really excited to see it. But then that first 10 minutes just killed any enthusiasm I think people had for the match. I think people knew it was going long. They paced it to go long. It just lacked that usual quickness of an AJ Styles match. Don't get me wrong, the moves they did were very well executed. They looked good. It's just the stipulation and the gimmick and the way they chose to use it was just not conducive to a good fan experience.
See, I think they held the crowd's attention through all of this. You listen, like, how up for it people are in the late stage stuff. Like, Styles still gets a big pop for his win at the end of it. And I think mechanically this is a good match. In a bubble, it's a good match. Everything is well executed, as you say. And when it isn't, they're both competent enough to find a way to get something out of it. But we cannot escape the spectre of the X Division champion can't job, which really hurts this and really hurts Ty. His one fall being a count out, even off a devastating move, sucks. I think even getting a pinfall would have really helped him because it would have showed that he'd leveled up since the previous match where he had to rely on a DQ to get the win. And it would have given him something to go into a story with Johnny Storm with. I pinned AJ Styles too. Yeah, but yours doesn't count as a win. Mine did.
The other thing as well you could do, because again, what has Ty been focusing on in the build up to this? Submissions. You don't need to have AJ tap out. You can have him make him pass out, and then it works with the gimmick of what Ty is doing is the submission stuff.
Tony Giles even says when he locks on the cloverleaf, he hasn't been working over the legs so far in the match, so I don't think this is going to get a submission.
Like logic, innit?
It just feels like the story they've been trying to tell before this doesn't really come into play during it, because as you've said, he doesn't really work many submissions.
Where was the hint maybe of James maybe trying to get another DQ fall the way he did in the previous match?
Yeah,
you've talked me down. I went 3 1/4. I'm now down to 2.5.
3 1/4.
Yeah. I think out of all of us, I am much more into the mechanics of wrestling than you lot are. You're all goodies versus baddies and that kind of thing. Yeah. I like good mechanical wrestling, and everything they did in this match is good.
Yeah.
It just doesn't add up to a good match. And the more we talk about it, the more I'm seeing the holes in it.
Well, if you want me and Ben to get our Mega Slam gold card, I will show you.
Yeah, you see, I want the Dragon Gate Platinum package.
It was a mechanical match. It was mechanical. That's the best thing you can say about it.
Yeah.
Was it one question I do want to ask, and again, just quickly, and then we'll move on. Was it hampered by the step of the Ferryman Iron Man?
Absolutely, of course it was.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. This should have been 2 out of 3 falls, or it should have been no disqualification, or something like that. Or I would have taken just another straight up wrestling match. But the hook is you are going to get to see one of the best wrestlers in the world and one of the UK's best technical wrestlers go for 30 minutes solid.
Yeah.
The hook was you are going to see a lot of nice looking wrestling.
Yeah.
Where one of the best wrestlers in the world against Steve Davis, isn't it?
I mean, look, you're doing James Ty dirty there because he was fine. He was absolutely fine in this match, but it's just he wasn't set up to show him in a good light at all.
Again, I do believe he is 22 years old at this point.
22,
headlining his second big show for this company, his second British Uprising in a row, which is the biggest, the FWA WrestleMania, if you like.
Yeah. Love you, James. Thanks for the review.
So after the match, Andy's second favourite thing happens. Someone puts their hand up right in front of the hard cam. Then as Styles goes to check on Ty, James low blows him and starts beating him down. Jody Fleisch runs out to make the save, but 5-Star catches him in the aisle and he gets a kicking too.
I love the fact that Jody runs and you can just see Mark Belton is almost right on him already before he gets into the ring.
Yeah, and I think that was actually a good way of doing this.
Yeah.
It's different to the usual babyface makes it to the ring and it's 2-on-1 against the heel and then the other heel. The heel should only have an advantage in a even numbers situation if they are cheating.
It's almost as if they've both bumped into each other or were just keeping an eye on what was happening. And then they realised that Ty's done what he's done, and then obviously I think he's summoning for
Yeah. So the way I read it is Ty is summoning 5-star out, and Jody just gets there quicker.
Yeah, it's almost like they're pushing each other in the
Jody
back.
was closer to the curtain.
Yeah, I like that.
Just when it seems all hope is lost, I am the one and only. Johnny Storm, fresh from both a job interview and a haircut, judging by his suit and that clipper fresh head, hits the ring and starts throwing hands. The soles of his shoes are really slippery, though, as he almost stacks it with every single punch he throws. The heels bail to the floor, and Jody crushes them with a springboard shooting star press. Back in the ring, Storm and Fleisch back up into each other, turn around and have words. Good Christian boy Alan Jones intervenes to play mediator, and to a full-throated FWA chant, the Phoenix and the Wonder Kid bro handshake and pose on the corners. End of show. I do think that this closing scene shows that all was not lost from an on-screen perspective. It's backstage where things are crumbling, but on screen I think there's still juice in this orange.
Did that ever make TV, that end bit? Even just the end bit?
Well, I don't know if they showed any clips of it in the TV season 2, but it was not on the Uprising broadcast.
As we mentioned, because of the thing. Okay,
Yes.
that makes sense.
Yes. This show, however, still lost £24,000. And the wheels haven't come off yet, but the nuts are looking very loose. So how do we feel about the show as a whole? Who out of Statler and Waldorf wants to start?
Well, I'll start on this. I think the start of it was, pretty good. Actually, pretty good. You had that freeway. You had Hayden Jack, which he sort of had, like, watching it from the version that's on the FWA files. You have to take yourself out of it and imagine there's not a big black fucking dot on the screen, and which was a 3.5-star match, but I thought the opening was, opening portion, only hour and a half, and then, fucking hell, it's Richard Hillman taking the plats into the water, innit? After that.
Oh
My God, it proper just goes down a cliff. Absolutely goes down a cliff and drowns.
I'm Waldorfer, he's Statler. The opener was really good. After that, it started to feel like a slog to watch this. And then there were certain parts where it was like, oh, fuck. I can understand why. I remember when we talked about this, Kieran, that you said you have to watch this. Or I think it was maybe you or Andy who said I have to watch this in parts. I can't watch this all in the one day.
I had to watch this across 3 days.
Yeah, I watched it in parts as well.
Well, don't forget, I watched it all, I think, pretty much in one go as my fan watch, and then I do a notes watch. And the notes watch I had to spread out across 3 days. Also, don't forget, Andy and I have also reviewed another 2-hour wrestling show, and I watched a shitload of WrestleMania weekend the week we were recording this. So I have seen a fuck ton of wrestling, and I watched Dynamite as well.
And Kieran doesn't want to watch anyone in spandex for another month.
In one of my group chats, I put, I do not want to see a headlock until at least Monday. I have had enough pro wrestling for this week.
I mean, as I say, the opener felt good, and then the rest of this at certain points felt like I was watching Rob Van Dam potato Kenta in the face, and bust his nose open, and then everything just went to pot. I can see where the wheels are slowly coming off. I mean, there was the bright spot at the end where it looks like, hey, we've got Jody and we've got Johnny, and I was like, oh, maybe this will help a wee bit of a boost, but losing 24 grand does not seem like it's going to be in the right direction. And they're losing, not to kiss his arse, because he kind of is my boss on this show. They're losing someone quite special. So,
Tony
Giles. Yeah.
Great minds. Kieran,
yes. The reason for the money loss, is that just due to not selling the building or just over budgeting? Or?
I don't have any insight into the finances of the FWA. The finances of the FWA were the 300 quid that was supposed to go into my bank account every week, and the 70 quid that was supposed to go into my hand every time I turned up with the camera.
Just remember, the money was just resting in Alex Shane's account. That's all it was doing.
Ben, do you have any insight into the finances of the FWA or any feelings on this
No,
show as a whole?
It was. I mean, you can see they've overstretched themselves. It's the big.
Yeah.
They've gone too far. I mean, yes, they did 1,800 fans, biggest crowd they'd ever do, massive crowd for indie wrestling. Now still, but it's 1,800 fans in a 3,500 seat arena. It's literally half full in an expensive 3,500 seat arena, where apparently the arena contracts you in to use certain music licensing and certain staging and lighting. Like that as well. They spent a shitload on advertising. There was advertising campaigns all over the country, wasn't there, beforehand? You can see where the money went. As a show, it was disappointing. It just didn't deliver. It felt flat. Just didn't live up to expectations. Just disappointing. I thought that 22 years ago, and I was probably looking back. I haven't watched the show back since I've been there in the building. But
really?
Yeah, but it's. I watched the TWC version that 4 weeks later, but yeah, I haven't seen it since then, and it hasn't changed my opinion on it. It's in many ways it's the turning point, wasn't it? I think, like yourself, it was. I think people who'd been along for this ride for the FWA probably thought, this is as far as we can take it. We can't keep pushing this thing along anymore. This was kind of like, despite all their kind of rise and the TV show and the critical acclaim and things. They were still a disorganized shoestring DIY indie, weren't they? Just doing show to show. They'd lost Dino Scarlo quite recently as well. He'd jumped off, so they kind of were lacking that kind of bit of leadership and direction to kind of rein them in. I think a lot of people just saw this as it's not going to get any better than this. If we can't do it, if we can't take it to the next level now, we're never be able to. And so I think gradually people just saw the cracks, wouldn't accept its shortcomings anymore, and decided it was a good jumping off point.
And was this the kind of same? Was your reaction kind of the same as people on the UKFF and stuff like that at the time, as far as the show?
I think so. I think there wasn't a lot of positive reaction to the show, really. In fact, there was starting to be quite a lot of bad feeling, because the fact the show was in Coventry rather than it's the London kind of southeast base, like, pissed off a lot of people. There was, entitled pricks mainly, but I was travelling 3 hours to get down to every FWA show, but as were many other people. But it annoyed a lot of people that the big show that they'd had was 3 hours away in the middle of the country, and they had to travel to.
But if they'd done it in York Hall again, what's it going to draw there? It's not going to draw this many. Coventry is like mutually inconvenient for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah, Coventry sounds like it should be the perfect kind of place and venue for this kind of next level show, doesn't it?
Yeah, but then you get to Coventry and it's Coventry.
In this country, it's not like in America where you have every town has its own kind of basketball gym and things. And we've got town halls that go up to about 1,000 people, and then your next step up is kind of 8,000 seat arenas, and isn't it? It's there's nothing really in between apart from things like this. So
weirdly, this was the happy medium.
It sounds perfect. In the middle of the country as well, so everybody could. It's easily reached by people, but it was still a stretch too far for them. They weren't ready for this, and I don't think they ever were.
That what you were saying at the start of your conclusion. 5-star wrestling, National Wrestling League soon to come, like that. 3,000 seat arenas,
and only Eddie in the crowd.
They tried to go for that. They tried to do that right from the outset. This felt like a natural build, though. Over the past 4 years or so, they'd slowly been getting bigger and bigger and bigger and getting more momentum.
If only they could have found a 2,000 seat building.
I think we'd be thinking about this show very, very differently if it was it's held in a 2,000 seat arena
I think 2005 would have gone a lot differently for the company as well if they'd done this in a building that was closer in capacity to the number of people they drew.
Just quickly, was there an alternative at the time in Britain?
In terms of wrestling product, not yet.
Yeah, not yet. How long would we have to wait?
Not really. Starting to be. Okay. The downfall of FWA, it'd be a complete other podcast that you could talk for 3 hours on that, nearly. But generally, people, as FWA started to lose interest and lose fan, it had to change. It had to change basically after it lost £24,000 and a lot of influential people. It had to change the way it did business. The way it did business and restructured itself wasn't as appealing to the fans, who then started looking at alternatives, which were starting to crop up as well.
Yeah. But I would say with this show especially, me, Kieran, and Eddie have been doing this for a while, and the build up, even in 2026, and I felt hyped for this show. Thought, fucking hell, I can't wait. God knows what he will like at the time, but you'd feel like, fucking hell, we're here.
FWA's 2004 was a good year. It was a really good year for them in terms of the product and stuff. It continued that same strong run from 3 and 4, but I think the TV gave them a bit. The storylines a bit of focus and direction and things. So everything was pointing in the right direction. It is building well, but it was just a wet fart on the night.
Like, I'm assuming we have fit, like, as I say, me and Andy, and obviously Kieran in certain ways as well. I say we've probably felt the exact same way as in 2004 that Ben and other fans of FWA felt about Uprising 3 because of, as I say, how competent and how decent the TV has been in terms of that. So I'm not surprised that we've all come out of it thinking, well, this was a wet fart of a show.
I'm going to put on my CV, FWA TV, as described by podcaster Eddie Siburns, as competent.
Yeah, you can add it. Kieran Laporte, competent editor. But no, and again, we were excited because of how decent the TV was. So I'm not surprised. I'm gutted. Like, as I say, feeling this was a slog. I was really disappointed.
I mean, the crowd reactions and stuff on the night, again, it's the size of the arena. It's the fact that it's half empty. The fact that people felt so far away from what they're actually seeing. You
can see on the camera, people are sitting in the back rows of empty sections.
Yeah.
You can move forward.
You compares that to like kind of like that red hot in your face kind of stuff. When you normally see, like, say, Broxbourne Civic Hall on FWA TV, there's people everywhere you look on those wide shots. The whole thing is the whole screen is just filled with people.
Yeah, Broxbourne's a pressure cooker, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just
Would Crystal Palace have been a decent venue, or would that have been a
Crystal
bad
Palace
venue?
has never been a decent venue. Shut up. Size wise, I think it would have been right, but like that again, that's London.
Mm-hmm.
But once have you ever been in there, Eddie?
No, thankfully not.
It sucks. Don't ever need a piss in Crystal Palace. It's horrible.
As an actual sightlines and everything, Crystal Palace is a perfect wrestling venue.
Yeah.
But then you factor in the toilets, the fucking amenities. It's shit.
Yes. Yeah. Correct. Okay, so let's try and I'm not sure which thread to pull. Let's try and drag this back on track. Eddie, you mentioned alternatives.
Mm-hmm.
IPW UK ran their first show 6 weeks before this.
Oh, wow.
They would go on to take on those hardcore fans. In fact, their second show is on the 21st. So 7 days, 8 days after this.
And that would have been Baltimore, right? Running that.
Baltimore?
Baltimore.
The fuck are you talking about?
I know what he means. He means the IPW
the poker player.
Very prominent on the screen.
Yeah, fuck him. Well, he doesn't get named on this show.
That's why I called him Baltimore.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know what you're on about. And then LDN, who could also be considered an alternative, ran their first show 12 days after this.
Because I know up in Scotland we would have had BCW, and
you definitely had BCW because there was some prick with a BCW sign who would come down and hold it on the hard cam at fucking FWA shows. Really annoying.
Sorry about that. But yeah, so basically alternatives would have been LDN.
Yeah, and there's All Star knocking about, and there's TWA knocking about. I don't know if there was actually, because Conway would have been in Thailand, or just coming back from Thailand after failing at that with Johnny Storm on his cards.
I mean, certainly in the southeast, you had, in very short order, you had IPW UK, SAS, and LDN startup, all ran by people that had kind of like cut their teeth in FWA.
And which one would you go to, Ben?
I eventually moved over to IPW.
Okay,
that would be the correct choice,
as most FWA fans did.
Although I did see, I didn't go to a show. I did see a lot of fun stuff out of SAS because that was kind of this little bubble universe where everybody played different characters for the most part. So that was quite fun. LDN, fuck that guy. Right. As far as the show as a whole, I think it's okay. It's nowhere near as good as the first one, which, as we discovered, still holds up really well over 20 years later. But I think it's better than the turgid mess that was Uprising 2. This show was, however, the final nail in the coffin for me. What with making the TV show, the ads, the DVDs, and prepping for this show, before the day of British Uprising 3 had even started, I had already done a 120-hour working week for £300.
No wonder you look like Bill Eady as he was leaving the W.
I think, along with the "you ungrateful cunt" email I talked about last month, it's a miracle I didn't have a full breakdown, and I am forever shocked my girlfriend at the time didn't leave me. I was so exhausted that at the interval I couldn't even walk backstage, and it was only Amy's mum handing me leftover sandwiches over the guardrail that kept me going. It seems to have been cut around on the video. What the fuck are you laughing at?
Because I was about to say, akin to a certain Chicago man with muffins, your saviour would have been sandwiches because you were tired and you were working with fucking children.
I was working with. I was one of the children. I was 25 years old.
You're trying to run a business. Yeah, get you.
Yeah, well, no, I wasn't. It seems to have been cut around on the video, but I spent a lot of that main event leaning against the apron, the ring post, or the lighting rig because I couldn't stand up. Absolutely horrible day. That's what I mostly remember it for.
Mate, you look like a broken man from the first bell.
Yeah.
I was. I had to go get DVDs out the boot of some twat's car on the motorway. Yeah. I honestly, the two main things I remember from this day are picking up those DVDs in the morning and barely being able to stand come 10 p.m. that night.
Did you finally get to sleep after this then, finally? Please, for the love of God.
I don't know where I slept. I don't remember if I stayed in Coventry. I don't remember if I helped with the breakdown of everything. I don't remember if I was driven home. I can't remember any of it.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Jumpin Jaks.
I definitely didn't go there.
Ben would have convinced you to go Pop World. He still does in the year of our Lord 2026.
Yeah, it's like a fucking siren call, isn't it? Here's the cheeky girls coming out through the doors and he has to go. Right, so to dig you out of this hole, Ben, I know there is still Gold Rush to go, but for all intents and purposes, this is the end of the year for the FWA. You briefly mentioned, but what are your thoughts about the FWA's 2004 as a whole?
I was still on board by this point. I thought they had I thought they had a good year. I thought the storylines were good. That was the same that same kind of fun atmosphere. The action was still better than what you get anywhere else. It was still like having our own ECW, our own indie that the fans felt close to. You could feel like you're a part of it. It was still worth traveling to for me. Yes, Uprising was disappointing, but Gold Rush 2 weeks later, there I was back on the train straight down again. I was still well on board by this point. I think it's the changes that happened in FWA after this point that kind of started to knock my feeling towards that. But 2004, I would say, was still one of their high points. That whole period, 2002 into 2003, 2004, it was on the upward swing. It didn't get any better than this.
There we go. Anybody else with any closing comments before I take this home? Because we have been recording a long time.
Do we have to do the roll of credits of people who are no longer with the company after this show?
Leave the memories alone. I want you to stay.
No New Breed. No Castanos.
Kieran doing his running with the camera and then it turns into black and white. Leave the memories
alone. I think this aired on Wrestling Channel exactly 4 weeks after the show.
It aired on December the 12th, yes. And to my recollection, Barry put together most of it. I kind of supervised it, and I was definitely responsible for censoring the TV version, which I guess would have carried over into the DVD. I don't think I touched the dark matches or the Styles versus Ty match, but I think I had a bit of a hand in like the television program part of it.
So what aired on the Wrestling Channel in the FWA TV slot between the last episode, which was the kind of the Uprising preview show, and Uprising 4 weeks later? Was it off the air by this point, ready for season 2?
Oh, if you'd have prepped me for that, I could have found out. Oh, actually, no, I do know, and I don't know if it was in the FWA TV slot, but it was definitely airing at the time. Something I asked people if they had last time around, and I'm going to ask them for again, UK Roundup. UK Roundup was 6 episodes of TV, I believe, again, put together by Barry. My only dealings with it were filming Mo Chatra's links for the first episode against my green screen in my kitchen in Hemel Hempstead. And it contains a lot of otherwise unaired 2004 FWA footage. In fact, there's only 3 matches on the show I didn't film, and only 2 of those I wasn't at. So if anybody has any of those episodes, get in touch, because I can capture any format you've got, and it kind of counts as FWA on TV, so I would like us to cover it. Chronologically, it's next for us, but I think we're going to have to skip it because nobody seems to have it.
Well, if you contact Johnny Storm in hospital, you might have a...
He'll send his mum to go look under his bed in the case full of DVDs and VHS tapes. Yes, so that was what. Sorry, was there any more to that, Ben? That was what was airing before.
No, I just could not remember, because I can't remember if it went off the air for a while.
No, I imagine Alex would have wanted to keep the slot, so that aired. Then they did FWA Classics, and that's either 4, 6, or 8 episodes. I can't remember. And then it goes into FWA TV season 2, which starts with stuff from Gold Rush.
Mm-hmm.
So if we are done.
Yep.
Ben, I want to thank you very much for far too many hours of your time this evening. It is much appreciated. You have filled in many blanks for us yet again. Plug the YouTube channel. Tell us where you can be found on the internet if you want to be found, all that good stuff.
Yeah, sure. No, thank you for having me on. I've, again, enjoyed this. I very much appreciate all of your work. I very much enjoy it. As for myself, I am now back on Twitter, because I was suspended for about 3 weeks because of Elon's bots. I think Andrew is still suspended, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm still suspended.
No, I'm back.
Yeah, but that's for the best. That's fine.
Yeah. No, it's my main outlet for kind of just throwing out live thoughts on shows and things that I go to. So you can follow me there at Britwres Away Day. The companion to that is my YouTube channel, British Wrestling Away Days, where I kind of do vlogs of shows I go to around the country, kind of traveling to them, kind of looking at the fan's eye view of heading to a day to a wrestling show. Tinkered with a little bit of Instagram recently. Benny's Away Days. You might see more of me on that as well soon. And who knows, maybe more. But yes, that's me. Thank you very much.
Edward, tell us about the tournament.
Well, we've heard some new competition around something called the Wrestling National League or something like that.
National Wrestling League.
National Wrestling League. They're doing this kind of football gimmick thing. So I will be there in Glasgow. £5 a ticket, not a £6 ticket. That's actually quite cheap for early birds. I'll be there doing some scouting as someone put in a Discord, and then someone decided to take it even to a very bad way of thinking it. But yes, as I said, 5-star wrestling. We're still planning stuff out. I'm going a bit quiet for the moment, but we'll probably be booming by the end of 2026. You can find me on Twitter at QuadicXBest. You can find me on Blue Sky at Eddie Sideburns. I have recently done an episode of What's on the Telly on with PW Torch with Alan Forel, where I made him watch FCW Developmental 2009, and he made me watch something from 1983 with the Blanchard promotion in that time. So I always love chatting with Alan Forel, and I coined the phrase postcard promo, which I'm going to be using till I die.
Absolutely.
And other than that, yes. Again, Ben, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to speak to you. Your shirt, which again, obviously people can't read, which is the Easy Big Daddy one, is a great one. And I always love having you on. Thank you.
Cheers, Eddie.
I will second that show with Alan. If you are a PW Torch VIP, you should listen to that. It's great. I want to call it Comfortable Slippers conversation about wrestling. It's really, really good. And Andrew, tell us about Graps and Claps.
Yes. You can follow me on X, on the podcast account now, GCP Podcast 1, not my original account, as I've been suspended due to the Great Strigger hack of 2026. You can go and follow my podcast on all podcast sites. Recently, we've had Shite Episode 2, TNA Final Resolution with Matty Edwards, and we've got Episode 3 coming up in June, which will be Was 2009 Shite with Michael Hamflet and Matty Edwards. So that should be good. And also, recently launched a new series with Mr. Lafort there, which is Satellite Wrestling on Screen Sport, or otherwise known as Mark Rocco's Tash. Got much to say about it, Kieran?
I think people should listen to that. You should listen for me trying not to cough because we recorded it while I was ill. I don't think it's a shock for me to say that I really enjoyed recording it with you. Obviously, it's always fun to talk about wrestling TV, whether it's good or bad. I really enjoyed that episode of Satellite Wrestling. It's like a 1980s US territory, but in Hanley. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of it. And there's a couple of cracking matches on that show as well.
I'm looking forward to it over the about 10 or 12 episodes. And also you can listen to our live reviews, which Mr. Corrigan's on quite a bit, aren't you, Ben?
I was over Blackpool weekend. I think we did about 3, didn't we?
We did, yeah, in different states of going downhill, going from the highs of the Saturday morning to the Sunday morning, where we just wanted to get fucking home. During that big fucking storm in Blackpool, but yeah, go and check us out, as Craig David used to say.
And speaking of wanting to get home, you can find everything to do with this show at linktr.ee/FWApod. We are on Twitter, Blue Sky, and YouTube at FWApod, and Instagram at FWA.pod. As for me personally, I am at Kieran Edits on Blue Sky. Thank you very much for listening. Next month, we don't actually know yet, and there's 2 things you can do about it.
3 roads promise you the same thing. 1 chance at time to gamble everything. You'll know your fate when the last man's standing. 1 man served 2